Now, you're going to recognize quite a number of these from Azeroth's storied history, but we've stuck a couple in there of our own devising as well for you to enjoy. Descent of Dragons also introduces a handful of new mechanics and one all-powerful new keyword as well. You want to dive in and take a look? Let's do it. Now, it wouldn't be right to make a set based around dragons without at least acknowledging the most terrible, the most feared and fearsome dragon ever to walk the world of Azeroth. No, not Deathwing. It's the progenitor of all dragonkind, the fearsome Galakrond. Galakrond is Hearthstone's newest hero card. That is to say, he takes the place of your own hero when you put him into play. He also brings with him a powerful new battle cry and his own unique hero power. But here's the key. He becomes stronger, more powerful, when you make use of our newest keyword, Invoke. It's important to note here that Invoke has its effects on Galakrond, whether he be in your hand or in your deck. And by doing so, you will allow him to achieve his second form. Gets a bit stronger. Now, believe it or not, there are actually those who eagerly await Galakrond's return, those who praise his name across Azeroth. And as a result, the Invoke keyword will occasionally show up on some neutral cards as well. Doing so will allow you to achieve the most feared and third final form of Galakrond, that of Galakrond, Azeroth's End. Now, I don't know if this actually signals the end of all of Azeroth. Frankly, from what we've just seen, I'm pretty sure that's Sylvanas' job now. But it sure as heck signals the end of any game of Hearthstone he's in if you can appropriately pull off the Invoke mechanic. All 5 classes aligned with the League of Evil will have access to the terrible power of Galakrond and be able to harness it for themselves in the form of a unique hero, bringing a unique battle cry, and a one-of-a-kind hero power as well. Now, Rafam, he is assured that everyone will receive a copy of all 5 Galakrond legendary hero cards for free just for logging in when the set launches. But you may ask, side of good, where are my League of Explorers in this?
Okay. Test. Test.
You see, with every class in
Test.
Hearthstone will receive a legendary dragon, each of their own. We're sure to see their presence being made known in the meta as soon as we release this newest and final chapter to the trilogy on December 10th. But for those of you looking to dive into the action a little sooner, pre-purchase begins today. Now, normally that'd be it for Hearthstone. We've given you an amazing new set, an awesome new cinematic, and a song that I know I'm going to be humming for the rest of the weekend.
Okay.
But we're not done. We want to leave you with something a little special before we go. As Hearthstone players ourselves, we all continue to enjoy a variety of ways to play this game we know and love. Whether it's in the arena mode or tavern brawl mode, we enjoy thinking of the cards we build and craft and play.
Ναι.
decks that we put them in different ways. That's why the Hearthstone team is excited to announce today an entirely new way to play this game.
Okay.
And it's a new mode we
Ναι.
like to call Hearthstone Battlegrounds.
Hearthstone, όχι Θεέ μου, όχι.
All 8.
Battlegrounds.
8-player mode that is inspired by the popular auto battler genre
Πλάκα
with a
κάνεις.
few Hearthstone twists.
Δηλαδή.
In this mode, you and 7 other players are
Κολλάς ρε μπουρδέλο.
victor remains. This is the first new mode to come to the game in some time. We have had so much fun making this, and we've had even more fun playing it.
Κάνανε auto
So
battler.
much so, in fact, that we're excited to dedicate the entirety of the Hearthstone demo area here at BlizzCon to Battlegrounds over the next 2 years.
Γαμάτο. Γαμάτο.
The open beta for this new mode is going to start on November 12th. But for those of you here today, watching at home with the virtual ticket, or pre-purchasing Descent of Dragons,
Ναι.
well, you're going to get to enjoy this all starting on Tuesday.
Okay.
We
Δυνατό.
couldn't be more excited to announce even more and talk about more cards and things related to Descent of Dragons and Hearthstone Battlegrounds on the Mythic stage at 3:30. We look forward to seeing you all there.
Μάλιστα.
From the very beginning,
Okay.
Hearthstone was always intended to be a warm and welcoming place.
Δυνατό.
It's a place and a home far away from a confusing and often frustrating world outside the tavern. It's a place to set down our swords, join our friends,
Έτσι.
and gather around the fire.
Αυτά είναι.
With the return of the Hearthstone Tavern here at BlizzCon,
Ναι.
you do just this. We absolutely invite you to come by and tell us what you think of the new mode. And we love answering questions about the newest set.
Ενδιαφέρον το καινούριο mode.
We
Μπορώ να
hope you
πω.
just drop by, if only to take part in the warmth and the friendship that the tavern has to offer. I know I'll be there, and I look forward to seeing each and every one of you.
Ωραίο. Καλό.
I don't know about you guys, but I really need to see what Overwatch has to offer, don't you?
Πάμε Overwatch. Θα δούμε.
Let's go take
Είδαμε
a
Diablo
look at
4. Είδαμε καινούριο expansion Warcraft. Είδαμε Hearthstone. Καινούριο game mode. Πολύ δυνατό.
The Omnics declared war. Overwatch was created to rescue humanity from the Omnic crisis. We became the greatest champions of peace and progress mankind has ever seen.
Everybody knows Overwatch got shut down.
Ναι.
Half of them are just mercenaries now.
The people decided they were better off without us. They even called us criminals. They tore our family apart.
Papa told me, after so many years of service, you gave Overwatch everything, and then they pushed you out.
Real life is not like the stories our father told us. You were a fool for believing it so.
Perhaps I am a fool to think there is still hope for you, brother. Human, machine. Before me, I see the future. Humans and Omnics standing together.
Η κοπέλα με το δονητή δίπλα.
Continues. The conflict between Omnics and humans has now claimed over 15,000 lives.
But look around. Someone has to do something.
Οκ.
We have to do
Όπως... Όπως τι ρε.
Always remember, never accept the world as it appears to be. Dare to see it for what it could be.
It's been too long. What is this? This is broadcasting on the Overwatch emergency frequency.
I got a call. They're getting the band back together. They want me. But really, they need you.
Ωχ. Η Αθήνα.
I must answer.
is changing once again, and it's time to pick a side.
We can make a difference again. The world needs us now, more than ever. Are you with me?
Yes, Winston.
Δεν
I
μου
am with you.
Οκ. Για να δούμε τι έχει να πει ο Μπομπάς Κάπλαν.
Please welcome Game Director of Overwatch, Jeff Kaplan.
Έπες Τζέφρι. Δεν δουλεύει το μικρόφωνο σου.
You having fun? BlizzCon is so edgy this year. I wore black. It's kind of like dad edgy because it's got a giant pink bunny on it. So I didn't quite get there.
Καλό.
So I feel like you and and you know who I'm talking to, I feel like you and I have been together
Ήταν λίγο
for a
dark
very
όντως.
long time. Like, we remember when WoW Classic used to be called WoW. It's been we've been around together. I have something. Don't ever say that. I have something that I'm very embarrassed to tell you now, and I'm only telling you because we have this close relationship.
Okay.
I totally forget what I'm supposed to say right now. Like, I don't have a clue. Just drew a blank. Anybody who knows me knows I can just ramble forever about anything. But luckily, I can, from the internet, I can read everything I'm supposed to say from the last week. Thank you so much for helping me with that.
Τα έχει πει όλοι. Ω, μαλάκα τρόλ.
That was so sweet. The team really appreciate it. Actually, if you want to know how game developers feel about leaks, the WoW team made a cinematic called Shadowlands. And picture my face where Sylvanus's was. And then instead of that helmet, it was my cell phone. And then, yeah.
Επειδή λίγοι κάρανε.
I talk about Overwatch now. I'm just digging a hole, you know. So, a very dear friend of mine, 5 years ago, on this stage, almost to this very day, a gentleman by the name of Chris Metzen.
Chris Metzen.
And let him hear it. He's watching with us right now. Chris came out 5 years ago on this stage, and he said it's time for a new adventure, and he wanted to take us all with him. And he came out and he announced Overwatch. It was one of the most special moments of my life. And the women and men who work on Overwatch have been working so hard to make something very special. And today they'd like to dedicate that to you. So please enjoy.
Για να δούμε. Αν είναι δυνατό. Ένα βιντεάκι θα φτιάξανε. Να δουλεύουν έτσι. Αν είναι απλά ένα βιντεάκι. Morrison, Anna, Winston, Tracer.
Winston?
What's on your mind, May?
Do we have enough people for this mission?
As long as we stick together, we'll be fine.
Μάλιστα.
Show. Now would be a good time.
Attention! This is your captain speaking. We are on final approach to Paris.
Paris. Τι θα πάρουμε από Paris?
That's our cue.
You may now power on your electronic devices. Weather is mostly cloudy with a 100% chance of null sector invasion.
No sector invasion.
Winston, clear us a spot to land. We'll be right behind you.
You better be.
Okay.
Why is Mars sector attacking now?
I don't know, May. But the people down there need help. And right now, we are all they've got.
Μάλιστα. Οκ, η αστυνομία. Οχ.
Bonjour, officer.
Bonjour.
C'était un singe?
Ναι. City and Sons. Καλό. Λοιπόν. Πάω στον εγκέφαλο.
Good work, May.
Thanks. Watch your back.
Get the civilians to the ship.
You got it.
Get the civilians to the ship. Wow. Ωραία, φίλε.
Take cover!
Ωραία, φίλε, το γάμισε το πλοίο. Ωραία, μαλάκα.
May, stay with me. Winston! She needs help. We can't stay here.
Τόσο σκόπος για να πούνε ότι αφαιρούν απλά τη May από το Overwatch.
Tracer, get everyone out of here. I'll hold the line.
But you said to stick together.
Και τον Winston.
Don't worry. I'll be right behind you.
You'd better be.
Φρυδάκι Όξτον, η Λίνα Όξτον. Μάλιστα. Ω! Ποιος είναι αυτός? Ο Γκέντζι. Ο Γκέντζι.
Genji.
Ω, Ράινχαρτ. Η Μπριγκίτα. Ωχ, η Αθηνά. Πώς? Πώς την είπε?
Let's get you back in the fight.
Wow.
Interlock shields. How are we going to stop this thing?
May, your backpack.
What? That could work. Trissa, pulse bomb. Here you go.
Pulse bomb. Ωχ, μην μου πεις ότι θα κάνουν fusion τα abilities. Θα κάνουν fusion abilities. Εντάξει, άμα κάνουν fusion abilities θα τρελαθώ τελείως.
Ready?
Go long.
Γαμάτο. Πες μου ότι θα κάνουν fusion abilities. Τέλειο.
Victory is ours, my friends!
Hi, Lena. Brigitte? Oh my gosh, you've grown! Oh, everyone, this is May. Hi, everyone.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Αχ, Θεέ μου.
Good to have you on board.
Thank you.
Monsieur,
Monsieur.
does this mean Overwatch is back?
Yes.
Yes.
We are.
Πώς το λένε την άλλη? Overwatch 2. Ναι ρε φίλε.
Did you like it? Did you enjoy? Awesome. On behalf of the Overwatch team, I am extremely proud and excited to finally and officially announce Overwatch 2.
Του το χαλάσανε ρε το
I
καημένο.
know you have a lot of questions, but we always feel like our games speak for themselves, so let's take a look at the gameplay and then we'll talk.
Ωραία φίλε, gameplay βίντεο. Τι είδες τώρα?
What are you doing here?
It's happening again.
It's happening again.
Paris was just the beginning. This is a global invasion.
So, how's Overwatch enjoyed our city?
It's beautiful, except for all the killer robots.
Story missions.
Then we know what we have to do.
Oh, yeah!
You're with me. We're getting aboard that ship.
I knew you would return one day. It has been too long, Master.
Πάμε ρε, Master.
Do this.
You've made your choice. Nobody will stop us. Trouble is cropping up all over the world. It's not just Null Center.
A lot of lives are riding on what we do next.
We'll have to fight. One city at a time.
Hero missions.
I've got you, Papa. Watching your back.
Now that's teamwork.
Ναι.
Time to learn some new tricks.
Level up your heroes. Γαμάτο. Custom. Δυνατό. New PvP mode push. Okay. New PvP maps. New look. A new heroes.
Sojourn here.
Okay. Δεν ξέρω αν πολύ αρέσει αυτό το καινούριο look. Να σου πω την αλήθεια.
Oh, we are going to have so much fun. It is going to be so awesome. So, we have a lot to talk about, right?
Ναι.
First and foremost, you have to remember that Overwatch is a team versus team 6v6 competitive experience. And there's no way we're losing that at all. In fact, that's a huge focus. So Overwatch 2 will have a brand new core competitive game mode called Push. Now, what I mean when I say core is that you will play this in quick play, it will be played in competitive, and it will also be played by the Overwatch League. So we're really excited to finally add a new core game mode. Now, we want everybody here today to have a chance to play it and tell us how awesome and balanced it is. So you can play on a brand new map, which takes place in Toronto, our first Canadian map.
Okay.
It's over in Hall A, so we invite you to come play the demo. We think it'll be awesome. Now, when I talk to lots of you, there's a common request that you want out of Overwatch, and Overwatch 2 is going to deliver on this. And that's for more story and for PvE, for cooperative experiences.
Ναι.
Overwatch 2 will feature a ton of PvE content. We will have a complete story experience featuring story missions. The first of which is called Rio de Janeiro, is also playable in Hall A for all of you today.
Δυνατό.
Cannot wait to hear what you think about it. In addition, as you saw, we have something called hero missions, which hero missions are focused on highly replayable cooperative experience. The analogy we like to use on the team is similar to what adventure mode is to Diablo versus its campaign. That's what hero missions are intended to be. And they're powered by this really cool progression system where you can level up your heroes, get more powerful, customize your abilities, do different talents. It's going to be a ton of fun. Now, you might have also noticed the heroes all have a new look to them. Every one of the 31 heroes, plus more, are getting an upgraded look to them. And there's a really awesome panel that's going to happen tomorrow on Saturday in here that is going to go through all of the engine upgrades that are coming to Overwatch 2 and all of the new looks and explanation of the new art style that I'm really excited about.
Okay.
Now, Overwatch and Overwatch 2 at their core are all about heroes, and we know that we cannot make a brand new Overwatch game without having new heroes. So Overwatch 2, in addition to featuring Sojourn, who we are not talking about today, besides just confirming that she is here, Overwatch 2 will feature multiple new heroes that will come with the game, and we're very excited about that. Now, a lot of you have questions, like why a sequel, or what does that mean to me as a player of the original game? I put so much time into this game, I cared about it so much. Well, we thought about it, and for us as gamers, you know, sequels make us nervous more than anything else. So what we're hoping to do with Overwatch 2 is really redefine what a sequel means. And I think some explanation is in order right now. So for all original players of Overwatch, players of the current Overwatch game, you will get to play on all of the same maps as Overwatch 2 players, including all of the brand new maps that are coming to Overwatch 2, and you will get to play with all of the same heroes as Overwatch 2 players. It will be a shared multiplayer environment where no one gets left behind.
Καλό αυτό. Πάρα πολύ καλό αυτό. Τίμιο.
The other thing that I think a lot of us are thinking about is all of those cool accomplishments and cosmetics that we've been unlocking over the years. You know, how hard did you work for your Witch Mercy skin, for example? We want to make sure that all Overwatch cosmetics come forward with you into Overwatch 2.
Τέλειο.
All of your progress matters. Nothing's getting left behind. No one's
Καλησπέρα ρε Μίτσο.
left behind.
Τι κάνεις?
We worked so hard to build this community of over 50 million players at this point. The last thing we would ever do is do anything to split what an amazing community you guys are.
Το είδες στο announcement του Overwatch 2?
So Overwatch 2 is going to be amazing. We have a panel right here on this stage at 1:30 where we're going to go into a lot more detail. Now, it's time for BlizzCon. I'm staring,
Δυνατό.
straight down the aisle at those beautiful machines with Diablo 4 loaded on them.
Diablo 4.
We've got World of Warcraft Shadowlands. We've got Hearthstone Battlegrounds. We've got
Hearthstone
two
Battlegrounds.
different Overwatch 2 demos. I just want you all to
Το
remember
Hearthstone Battlegrounds το
how much we
είδες,
all mean to each
που είναι
other,
auto chess,
be
Hearthstone.
good to each other, enjoy each other this weekend. Now let's go play some video games. Have fun, everybody.
Δυνατό. Πολύ καλό.
This concludes our opening ceremonies. Mythic Stages panel presentations resume shortly with Diablo 4 unveiled. Have a great BlizzCon.
Πάμε. Diablo 4. Τρομερό. Πολύ δυνατό. Πολύ καλό το Hearthstone Battlegrounds. Πολύ καλό. Πραγματικά πολύ καλό. Δυνατό. Πάμε τώρα να δούμε Diablo 4. Ανάλυση.
I feel really good. It's been an interesting month for us. It's been interesting to
Στο διάλογο, μαλάκα.
really misunderstood, honestly, and like our voice and what was important to us, and it's been so important to us for so long.
Ναι.
We didn't do a great job of kind of showing what that meant to us, and so I hope to come and have us be really open and really honest about kind of how we're feeling and how we're thinking about things going forward, and now we're ready to talk about some video games.
We can all really appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm like, in this day and age, accountability is so important. So I'm glad you got up there and took accountability.
I mean, and to come right off of that statement with Diablo 4.
Yeah,
Let's jump
right?
right into that because Diablo 2 is such a big franchise for me and
Huge
Diablo
game.
3 still. So how are you feeling about having Lilith finally here?
Lilith,
we're
άντε, γεια.
excited to have Lilith. It's been, Diablo is one of my favorite games of all time. I used to bring my computer over to a friend's house and play all weekend. It's kind of an old school LAN party situation.
Yeah.
And so to have this game and to be able to announce it and for it to really be, like Luis talked about, the return to darkness.
Τώρα αυτή, ότι έπαιζε Diablo 2,
Yeah, I really like the
δεν με πείθει.
gritty approach that they're taking to Diablo. It's got me really excited. But Jay, I wanted to ask you, because you've been a developer here at BlizzCon for so many years. So how's it been for you as the president of Blizzard coming to BlizzCon?
In my old job, I had one singular focus, and that was trying to do the right thing for World of Warcraft, the right thing for the players, the right thing for the community. And now that scope has really just expanded with all of our different communities and all of our different players. And so it's a great opportunity, and it's a great thing for Blizzard as we kind of look to move forward. One of the things that we've always talked about is wanting.
Αυτή στην πλούζα του είναι η Lilith. Να ξέρεις, Μίτσο. Είναι η μητέρα των Primevals.
Definitely epic experiences, and I have to say, as a Sylvanas loyalist,
Sylvanas loyalist.
That was fire. That was straight fire. I was screaming, break it! Like I knew, that felt so good. Being that you were on the Warcraft team for so long, to see this as Sylvanas' path.
Absolutely.
How are you with Sylvanas' path right now?
I'm great. I'm great with it. I'm super excited. We talked for a long time about what would it be like for Sylvanas to have the helm of the Lich King, and what would she do, and how did she think about it, and I really love the cinematic and work that the team did to kind of bring it, because I think when she brings it up, you really don't know what she's about to do. You could really decide if she's going to go either way.
No,
put that helmet on, or is she going to break it apart?
My heart was beating for it.
Άσε με, Μωρή.
Then we did our job.
I think it's the right way.
Τον Μαυρούλο τον πιστεύω. Αυτήν δεν την πιστεύω.
Of the Dark Lady, it was the correct way to go.
Absolutely.
It's such an exciting time for World of Warcraft, but when you're seeing all this, does it give you the itch to kind of get back in the dev team and be a part of all this?
Absolutely. working on, and this, in particular, we just released WoW Classic here a few months ago. Yeah. 2 years ago, I announced WoW Classic to BlizzCon, and that was, just such an awesome career highlight moment for me.
Yeah.
And so to have that come out, and then for Ian to announce this next expansion feels great.
Yeah, I know this is hard because these are all your babies. You've been with the company for so long, but Overwatch 2.
Very excited.
Just to be able to see those characters finally be able to experience their storylines, and to be able to see them interact. What kind of a decision process was that for you as the president to say, let's make this an entirely separate game?
Yeah, one of the things we've talked about for a long time, we've really heard from players over and over is, what does it look like to have a more in-depth look at these characters, to hear more of a story, to have more of a campaign kind of a feel. How is that going to come together? And it's something that players have really wanted for a long time, and we as players have wanted for a long time.
Definitely.
As well.
Okay.
I love Overwatch, and I do a lot of PvP, but
Overwatch.
I'm a PvE co-op player, and so this speaks to me as my personal favorite type of play style, and so I couldn't.
Malik and I actually got an opportunity to play it, to demo it back a couple of weeks ago with the team, and God, it's so fun.
It's really fun.
It's really coming along.
And I like that.
Okay.
There's so much lore to the Overwatch universe. I'm glad that we're getting a lot more with a story mode.
That's
story
right.
missions. It's so
new characters.
A lot of work, a lot of energy has gone into that story. We've seen a lot of different story and lore within Overwatch, but it's all been outside of the game.
Right.
Now it's going to be integrated. It's going to be part of the gameplay experience.
And
so we couldn't be more excited about it.
I love it. I love it so much. I wonder, because there's been so many announcements with Hearthstone even. This is a game that has been tried and tested, and the meta's been set so many times with all the decks and stuff, and everybody knows Hearthstone. They played it. So what was the decision-making process behind taking it into the auto battle loop genre?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, so the team
Auto battler,
came back from the holidays last year. I really started to kind of think about what are some of the different kind of modes that they could do, some of the things that they were excited about, and there was a small group of people that were really excited about what auto battlers could be, and decided they wanted to take some time and see what they could come up with. And they worked on it and worked on it, and finally got to a point where this feels like this could be pretty cool. And it's great because it's the first time we've had really big multiplayer, larger multiplayer in Hearthstone. First time we've had 8-player multiplayer. Hearthstone's traditionally been 1v1. And so we're really excited for that new aspect of the game. And it's pretty fun.
Hearthstone Battlegrounds.
Pretty exciting experience for people that really eliminates a lot of the shame of defeat, right? If you go out early, it's okay. You can just get back in and start a new game really quick.
You're losing with 6 other people, so it's
losing together.
Big deal.
It's all in one. There was, one of my favorite things about this opening ceremony was that not only did you have killer cinematics for everything, but you showed gameplay.
Oh yeah.
For everything.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, that's big. I mean, for I've done this show. This is my 6th time doing this show, and I gotta say, this is probably the biggest BlizzCon that I've seen in a very, very long time.
Right. Certainly the one with the most announcements, I think.
Yes.
Okay.
I feel like had a big one. Had a big megaton.
How do you feel like you're gonna top this next year? What are you guys? Where are you guys going?
We say that's a problem for future us.
Yeah.
So we'll get back. We'll get through this BlizzCon, and then starting on Monday, we'll sit down and say, hey, so next
Monday.
BlizzCon, what are we gonna do?
I think you deserve a little rest, Jay. I think you deserve a bit of a vacation.
Well, we'll get there.
When you're at all these events like the Overwatch League Grand Finals, or here at BlizzCon, you're hearing all the fans, and you're amongst the community. Do you see what Blizzard is doing in a different way?
When we are at our office and we're just working, you really are just working with people that you work with, and you're working on a thing, and it can you can forget that there are millions of people out there who love what you do and are really excited about what you're doing and are waiting and hungry for it. And so this is just such an opportunity to really have that visceral connection with people who really love what we're working on and really are interested in what we're doing. It's great. There's nothing like it. Nothing like it.
Well, Jay, we really appreciate you coming by and talking to us. And,
absolutely.
And just really
Jay.
clarifying everything, giving us so many great game announcements.
Malacas.
We hope you have a great BlizzCon.
Awesome.
You're able to enjoy a little bit of the show floor. Thanks so much for stopping by.
Thank you.
Guys, it's about time for us to head over to the mythic stage for Diablo 4 Unveiled. I can't wait for this.
Diablo! I love it. It's gonna be dope.
Να δούμε.
Welcome to Diablo 4 Unveiled.
Για να δούμε. Οπα, τα γκρεμίσαμε όλα. Λοιπόν, τι λες? Τι είπε?
Hello, blizzcon.
Hello to you too.
My name is Luis Barriga, game director for Diablo 4.
Luis Barriga.
My name's Tiffany Watt, senior producer on Diablo 4.
Senior producer.
And my name is John Mueller, art director on Diablo 4.
John Mueller.
Wow. What's up? We're here.
We can finally say it.
I know, right?
We can finally talk about Diablo 4.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
Can we just take a minute to just recognize how stacked this BlizzCon is?
It's incredible.
Overwatch 2, Shadowlands, Battlegrounds, Diablo 4. I'm kind of jealous of you guys, for sure.
Yeah, it's, I mean, just amazing to be here with all of you to share this. I mean, I think, you know, for us on the dev team, we've been working on this for a while.
Release date.
So to finally be able to be here with all of you is
We want a fucking release date.
For us. All right, so, Luis, a lot of stuff has gone down since Diablo 3.
That's right.
And so before we get into it, we have a ton of stuff, but you're going to set the stage for us a little bit.
That's right. Let's set the stage a little bit. All right, Diablo 4 takes place decades after the events of Reaper of Souls. Though Malthael's plans were foiled, the Angel of Death exacted a terrible toll on humanity, and Sanctuary suffered great devastation. Entire populations decimated, cities ravaged. Heaven itself suffered great losses, causing them to shutter their gates. You can
imagine. Close the gates. That's terrible.
And you can imagine what that does to people. Religious schisms, famine, war, basically humanity left to our own devices. And we know how well we do on our own.
Not so good.
All right, it is against this backdrop of despair that
Δυνατό.
Lilith returns. And that's when those events in that cinematic...
Ακόμη δεν έχουμε ιδέα. Σουβλάκιους. Φίλτατε σουβλάκιους.
Lilith is the mother of humanity. Lilith represents that demonic half that we all have inside our hearts.
Πω, δες το τι έχουν φτιάξει. Καταπληκτική.
She and the angel Inarius, along with other rebel angels and rebel demons, tired of this endless great conflict, created a world that would be free of conflict called Sanctuary.
Δεν το ξέρω, θα δούμε.
They created the first mortals.
Ελπίζω να πούνε.
That's what we've heard. The scary part about
Απλά το ανακοινώσανε το Diablo 4.
She knows what motivates us and can manipulate us. The other scary part of that, she's Mephisto's daughter. That's right.
Mephisto's daughter.
So she represents a link to an even greater
Φωνή
threat.
αυτή τι ήταν.
Evils. So even though she was summoned for reasons we were not ready to divulge quite yet, we know it can't be good.
Η κόρη του
With
Μεφίστο.
heaven having closed their gates, there's no one to answer our prayers. Even the Horadrim.
Θα κανονίσει το release date του χρόνου στο BlizzCon. Έλατε. Θα δούμε, μωρέ. Είναι αγώνες.
Yeah, we can kind of identify with that, I think.
Amen. All right, that's the stage upon which Diablo 4 is set. But let's talk a little bit more about Diablo 4. Help us out, Tiffany.
Alright guys, we're gonna go on a journey together, but
Με την
before that,
κόρη του
let's take a
Μεφίστο.
look at what Diablo 4 is. So
Okay.
Diablo 4 is a classic isometric action RPG.
Surprise!
That classic.
Θα να βλέπω.
We wouldn't let
Ναι,
it
οκ.
go. No way.
Χαίρο πολύ.
It's going to feature a dark, non-linear campaign.
Non-linear. Dark non-linear.
Any of the
Άλλο.
details about that campaign today, but you'll get to meet some of the folks in charge of it, including our new creative director, Sebastian Stempian.
Linear σημαίνει ότι απλά ακολουθάς ένα story και σε πηγαίνει μόνο του. Shared open world.
To go from the tip of Scotland all the way down to Kazakhstan.
Complete with weather and day-night cycles.
Α, πολύ καλό. Που κάνουν πιο open world στυλ. Οκ, δυνατό, πολύ δυνατό.
There are hundreds of dungeons to explore and hundreds of legendaries to find and equip.
Τίμιο αυτό.
See the legendaries in the dark gallery.
You should check them out.
Oh my.
All right, there's 5 powerful classes. 3
Ναι.
that we announced today and are playable in the demo: the sorceress, the barbarian, and the
Ο
druid.
Druid. Ωραίος ο Druid. Diablo το 2, ναι. Το expansion ήταν πολύ ωραίος.
And it's being developed simultaneously for PC, Xbox One, and PlayStation 4.
Καλό αυτό. Xbox One και PlayStation 4. Οκ.
All right, right, so like Tiffany said, we're starting a journey together. You know, you may recall in the opening ceremonies, Luis said that Diablo 4 is about world, legacy, and darkness. Who wants to talk about darkness?
Yeah!
All right. At the highest level, what this means is that when you play Diablo 4, everything you will see and experience will feel immersive and faithful to the legacy of what we all love about Diablo. How's that sound?
Okay, καλό,
I wanted to give you an
ακούγεται.
idea what we mean when we say that. You might wonder, you know, is it mature themes? Is it blood? Is it gore? There was a little bit of gore in that trailer, right? Just a little bit. And, you know, is it the music, right? It's all of these things. And what we like to say is...
Μακάρι να το βγάλουν τα Χριστούγεννα. Πολύ νωρίς μου φαίνεται, φίλε σου Μπλάκιους.
And I think, like, you know, the butcher's pit in Diablo 1, you know, you go down, you open that door, everything seems fine. And then it goes horribly wrong.
Ναι.
Bodies,
Όταν ανοίγεις το butcher's pit και βλέπεις τα αίματα και ακούγεται το fresh meat. Πω, αυτό ήταν χέσιμο πραγματικά. Πεινάζεσαι.
So this is what we're really excited about. It's that contrast. It's not monotonous, right? We want to create that sense of space and that world that we're really excited to explore.
Άλλο αυτό.
All right, so here's how this idea affects our heroes. You know, we've taken a more grounded approach to presenting the world of Sanctuary. You can really see it in this piece. It's everything from the palette to the design of the armor, to the design of the weapons, to how we treat magic. In the classes, you see the druid, the barbarian, and the sorceress engaged in combat with monsters from different realms around Sanctuary. And this piece really evokes the kind of tone and that feeling that we're after. And it really affects all things in the world.
Εγώ πολύ φοβάμαι ότι θα το δούμε και μάλλον για καλοκαίρι, το release.
We have this vast open world, and we want to immerse you into that medieval, apocalyptic, demonic version of Sanctuary like never before. The moments of contrast that you will experience in today's demo are areas like Donheim Caves, the Drowned Caverns,
Όχι ρε, 2 χρόνια.
Hangman's Tree to the south, which is one of my personal favorites, and then Keeler Farm.
Τώρα ευτυχώς θα τα βγάζουν πολύ πιο γρήγορα. Αν και πραγματικά δεν νομίζω να είναι σε 2 χρόνια. 2 χρόνια είναι πάρα πολύ. Όταν πούνε 2 χρόνια θα τους βρίσουν.
These are all areas that remind us that we're in the world of Diablo and what we mean when we talk about return to darkness.
Πότε βγήκε το Diablo το 2? Είχε βγει το 2000. Το expansion είχε βγει το 2000.
So what we mean by that
Κοίτα εδώ.
is our world is
Εντάξει, τρομερό.
RPG, but rather than being inspired by high fantasy, we're inspired by the occult, the demonic, and biblical themes. What we mean by gameplay is that even making a very dark, moody world, if we create, you know, the sort of overpowered...
Ακόμα δεν έχουν βγάλει αυτό που ανακοίνωσαν πέρσι για το Diablo Immortal. Το Diablo Immortal όμως έφαγε κατακραυγή. Γι' αυτό δεν τους νοιάζει να το ολοκληρώσουν. Καταλαβες, να το βγάλουν γρήγορα.
You heard me talk about how victories aren't clean or guaranteed. This means that sometimes evil wins. After all, this is the IP where you get sent to save the child Albrecht.
Ρε Σουλάκιος, και εσύ όμως, η μία λες, μακάρι να το βγάλω τα Χριστούγεννα και λες, εγώ πιστεύω ότι σε 2 χρόνια. Αποφάσισε. Για πες τελικά. Χαίρομαι πολύ και εγώ το θέλω τώρα. Πλάκα μου κάνεις. Εγώ το περιμένω τα 3 τελευταία blizzcon. Εσείς τι ξενέρα έριξα όταν άκουσα περσινό για τη μαλακιά το Immortal. Εντάξει. Κοίτα, όσο και να απογοητεύει, δυστυχώς.
Yeah, we're not done with that slide yet.
Yeah, I still want to talk about that campfire. Back one more.
One more, please.
There we go. Back to that campfire. All right, we're taking some of our and your favorite features from past Diablo games and bringing them into Diablo 4. We've updated their design, their look, their feel, using our brand new engine and all the lessons that Blizzard has learned over the years. So nowhere is this as apparent as with our classes. So it starts with this campfire right here. This pays homage to the classic campfire from Diablo 2, and this is one of my favorite parts of the demo and the game. So, John, what was your team's inspiration when, tackling the character select screen?
Yeah, I think when we started the character select, it was actually a really short conversation about what we wanted to do with that. It was like we had a few ideas, but the campfire was it spoke to us. It really showed off the new engine in a really cool way. It was really awesome to see the classes with the high fidelity that we're
Αγόρασες Virtual... Όχι, ρε εσύ.
with Diablo 4. Yeah, it was just so much fun.
Στο Twitter το βλέπω.
Oh, I was just gonna say, like, I love that we left a little room in there, and I also love how we don't put any text there telling you, oh, the barbarian is this and that. It's like, yep, the barbarian is the guy that broods in the corner with a bunch of swords. The druid's the guy that has some good boys hanging by him, and the sorceress conjures the campfire. It's so great.
Yeah, we wanted those classes to just be clear with that.
Δεν είναι 3 χαρακτήρες μόνο, 5 χαρακτήρες μόνο, από τους οποίους τους 3 θα δείξουν. Τους άλλους έχουν εκπληξούλα.
Starting with the barbarian. All right, the barbarian. You saw the slide a second ago. There's a reason we keep bringing this class back. Barbarians are the embodiment of visceral, brutal combat that's just so core to Diablo. So in reimagining the class for Diablo 4, we drew upon classical barbarian imagery as well as art from our own past. So one common theme that kept cropping up was the physicality of these warriors and how armed to the teeth they are with weaponry. Every time you take a look at a picture of a barbarian, they've got axes, swords, polearms, as many weapons as they can carry. And we really love this fantasy for this class, and with that in mind, we've added the arsenal system. So in the barbarian Diablo 4 will have 4 weapon slots and be able to use both one-handed and two-handed weapons in the same build. And I'm so excited about this level of customization and being able to equip 4 legendary items at the same time.
Δηλαδή,
pretty much every barbarian's fantasy to finally see that arsenal that you're used to seeing on those classic barbarian paintings come to life.
So you'll actually be able to assign items to each skill slot to add yet another layer of customization, and depending on what skill you use, the barbarian will automatically pull out the weapon that he or she needs, so combat will continue to be seamless on the battlefield.
Πλάκα
Carrying forward Fury to power the aggressive, physical, fast-paced attacks of the barbarian, but they'll also continue to pull the ancient magic of their ancestors to give them all that strength and combat on the battlefield. So, let's take a look at the barbarian in action and some
πολύ δυνατό. Δηλαδή με λίγα λόγια θα βγάζει εκεί πέρα, θα είσαι με το τσεκούρι, ξέρω εγώ, θα κάνεις το ένα skill, θες να κάνεις το άλλο το cooldown, ξέρω εγώ, θα βγάζεις το μεγάλο το δίχυρο, ρε παιδί μου, το χύνει, το ρίχνει. Άντε, γεια.
This guy's ready for action.
Ναι.
All right, wait for it. You know what he's gonna do.
Α, να το, έβγαλε άλλο όπλο. Το καμεχάμε. Ή αντιγιά. Super Saiyan Form. Δεν ξεχνάω πώς το λένε.
Yeah, I think this is like every barbarian painting that I grew up with come to life, where it's just like, wading into the crowd of enemies and just wreaking havoc.
Δυνατό.
All right, let's look at our next class.
Περίεργο το art style. Δεν ξέρω.
Who all got to play a druid in Diablo 2?
Druid, φίλε. Δεν έπαιζα druid, αλλά ήταν ένα πολύ ωραίο class.
I think you guys are going to like this guy. But first, I don't know if this little tidbit I'm going to give you is going to reaffirm your faith in us or shake your faith in us, but we got something to share with you. The druid was not part of our original lineup for Diablo 4. I know, it's my bad. That lasted about a day. Basically, one of our artists did this amazing piece of art, and then we went from like, I don't know, druid, maybe we're making a druid 100% starting tomorrow, right now.
Druid.
The power of art.
It's so great.
The power of art.
The art inspires the design in this game. You see it with the arsenal system, you see it with the druid. So one of the things that we said is like, hey, we love the idea of the druid. How do we move it forward? One of the things that we did is we took some of that fire magic that didn't feel like it met the fantasy of being someone in tune with nature. We replaced it with storm magic and earth magic, and we feel pretty great about that. And the demo, if you guys want to check it out. We kept his nature companions, like the wolves, the ravens, the vines, all of that.
The vine.
The thing that we feel is the kind of the special sauce is he's always been able to be this master shapeshifter. He can turn into a werebear, he can turn into a werewolf, and It was pretty cool. You'd be a bear and spam shockwave. That was pretty awesome. But we decided to move that forward with Diablo 4, and now we have something we call seamless shapeshifting. What that means, if you truly want to embrace the hybrid nature of the class, you can start an attack in one form, and you'll begin animating as smooth and fluid as the Diablo 3 combat you've enjoyed so far. We're leveling that up. So mid-swing, you will transform into the correct form. So you'll press that button for a werewolf attack, you'll start animating caster form, finish it in werewolf form. If you're surrounded by enemies, you can conjure up a boulder, push those enemies away, and then turn back into a werebear and charge into them. It's really, really cool. I really hope you guys have the time to play the demo, check out the druid. But enough of me talking, let's see that stuff in action.
Για να δούμε.
That guy is not having a good day.
I love these sets.
Ωραία σετάκια, όντως.
Yeah, this was one of our first pieces we did for him when we were trying to figure out what was going to be so cool about him.
Crazy mountain man.
All right, look at those good boys.
Good boys. The dire wolves.
Send your pets in, summon up some storm magic.
Yeah.
Έγινε λύκος.
And don't worry if you've got a preferred form, you can just assign all your buttons to that form and be a bear all the time if that's your druid fantasy.
And of course, Cataclysm just wrecks the battlefield.
Master of nature magic right there.
Είναι σαν το πώς έκανε ο Blizzard ο Warrior με τα όπλα. Ο Druid το κάνει με τα forms. Τη δείξαμε στις Sorceress.
About that art, I guess. It worked out. All right. The Sorceress. The Sorcerer.
Για να δούμε.
Is back.
Sorceress.
Heck yes.
Yeah. She is elemental carnage on the battlefield, whether it's chilling enemies and smashing with a fireball or transforming into
Αγαπημένο class του Diablo 3.
Just completely destroying the battlefield, teleporting.
Στο Diablo 2 όχι τόσο. Necromancer ήταν εδώ, Necromancer ήταν η αγάπη.
The hordes of monsters with the power of elemental magic. In the dark, oppressive world of Sanctuary, the Sorcerer lights up our dungeons. Like when we say we're returning to darkness, our dungeons are really dark. And the Sorceress lights it up in an amazing, fantastic way with our new engine and our new tech. And we're going to take a look right now.
Yeah,
that guy's about to eat a fireball to the head.
Definitely questioning his life choices.
Μαλακίες. Άντε με τα ίδια quest, τα ίδια set.
Classic D2 Sorcerer.
Oh,
I love that in addition to bringing the light show, gameplay-wise, you feel like a dungeon boss when you play a sorceress. She has basically control over the battlefield with abilities like Blizzard, like Firewall, that basically make you feel like you are doing area of denial attacks on enemies. It's really cool.
Τι έγινε? Γίνει Lightning Bolt. Γίνει Bolt Lightning, ρε μαλάκα. Τι λες τώρα?
Super exciting. All right, so how you look
παραλίγο.
Diablo as you're laying to the hordes of hell is pretty important, don't you think? You guys want more options for customization than you've had in the past? Of course. And we agree. And we're offering level of customization in Diablo 4 more than we've ever had before, and allow you to make that barbarian of your dreams, that druid of your dreams. And this is just a few options that we have here today in our demo to kind of show you what appearances look like.
Appearances. Δηλαδή.
And then these are some concepts of also where we're going with this. We really want to give you kind of like a template, and you can build on that fantasy however you want. So if you want to customize the hair, the skin, the jewelry, the scars, the tattoos, those kinds of things. And we really wanted to, we have a lot of these that we're planning, and it's something we're really excited about. We think you guys will like it.
Καλό. Πολύ καλό. Sorceress.
But it's not just the appearance. Customization is at the core of Diablo, and what I mean with that is gameplay customization.
Deep freeze.
And customization is back with a vengeance.
Bolt of Frost. Lance started deal.
New ideas that we've become inspired from previous games.
Wow.
So we have super happy. We're a little nervous. They're like, they're gonna like it. Yeah. So we have a trifecta of customization options with talent trees, with skill ranks, and with rune words.
Rune words. Το είπε.
Rune words especially, we've taken inspiration from Diablo 2 and given it a fresh new interpretation. You'll get to hear all about it in our systems and feature panel tomorrow, or if you check it out on the demo. But the way that it works, it's super exciting. That's no longer like a secret recipe, but a little bit more freeform with triggers and effects.
Τι λες ρε φίλε. Ευχαριστώ για το follow ρε Davout. Davout. Thanks for the follow Davout. Λοιπόν. Και έξυπνο το talent tree, το talent system.
It's a very big difference in how we've approached it from different installments. And we're coming at it from two angles, the fantasy and the gameplay. On the fantasy side, we knew we had kind of planted these seeds of, hey, the druid, we've told you he came from Skoskland, and we had seen little corners of Sanctuary that we knew you guys wanted to explore. But then on the gameplay side, we kept making a more or less linear game with Diablo before.
Ναι.
Act 1, Act 2, Act 3.
Ναι, ήταν τέρμα linear. Εντάξει, το κάνει open world τώρα.
So, with Reaper of Souls, we created adventure mode to kind of give you guys a taste of that openness, and it was really transformative. That was
Όχι, στριμάρω. Σήμερα θα στριμάρω, δεν ξέρω αν μπορώ να στριμάρω και τα υπόλοιπα panels. Λογικά, δεν ξέρω, μάλλον.
We're making an open world with a non-linear campaign so that you can be in charge of how you decide to level. If you're the type of player that wants to take breaks between the story and do some of the
Α, για σήμερα, ναι, εννοείται. Μόνο το Mythic Stage.
Great. If you're the type of player that wants to experience the story uninterrupted, you can still do that. So not only can you customize.
Τι έγινε? Ξεκόλα. Περιμένει λίγο.
But there was always that border that was a little frustrating, and I think like for this game, you know, those borders are gone. And so on the concept team, when we were kind of imagining what this space would look like, we had to imagine what that would be. And so, you know, what if the region itself was 10 or 20 times larger than any previous Diablo region? You know, it's so big that mounts might actually be required to cross these distances. There's going to be 5 connected regions to explore with distinct geological and unique biomes. We will have the icy mountains of Fractured Peaks. We're really excited about that.
Fractured Peaks,
We'll have
Hargath
the
λέγεται.
of Skoskland. And we're going to have the desolate grasslands of Dry Steppes. Sprawling deserts of Kyrgyzstan. Of course, we're going to go back to Kyrgyzstan. We're really excited about this.
Το Καζακστάν.
And the foul swamps of Hawazar to explore.
Why can't they just be regular swamps?
Because they need to be foul. This is super important. Foul swamps. That's pretty dark, right?
Εντάξει. Okay.
The world is also how you engage with other players in Diablo 4. So we'll have social hubs in major towns. This is one from our demo. This is Korbach. And in these towns, not only is this where you pick up quests and talk to NPCs, you can also trade, ask someone about their gear, maybe investigate their build, take a look at how they customize their character or what awesome armor they're wearing.
Κόλλας γάμος.
Look for a group. And you might be wondering, why do I want to look for a group? Well, as you're exploring the open world, you'll come across world events. And your druid here is going to come up on one in a second. And you may not want to fight these events alone because they're a little bit tougher experiences, which I think is pretty exciting.
Δηλαδή.
All right, I'm going to wait for this one to pop up.
Τι είναι να κάνει pop-up?
So this was in the game trailer. This is Ashava.
Shava, the pestilence.
I'm curious how many people Ashava is going to murder this weekend.
Do you want to venture a guess? I'm guessing thousands, maybe. Everybody.
Τι θα είναι σαν raid, δηλαδή.
Probably everyone that plays a demo is going to die to this. So, you know, you can group up with other people. You'll be running around the world. You'll come across other players. And they'll be able to help you defeat this demon and get some awesome loot. That's what we feel, right? So I know what you're thinking, what if I don't really want to play with other people? Well, there will be areas of Sanctuary where players can opt into PvP, so you can murder them instead.
PvP,
You'll be able to complete the entirety of Diablo 4 without ever necessarily engaging in these social activities. You can continue to crawl dungeons on your own or just form private parties of your own. But I'm really excited about what grouping and trading is going to do to the longevity of this game. And, you know, the most important thing for me for playing games these days is player stories. And I have, you know, so many. I'm curious, do you have any?
I mean, yeah, I love PvP.
Έλα ρε Πάκο. Καλώς ήταν.
But it's the sort of thing where I don't remember a lot about other games, but I remember
Ναι ρε φίλε, εννοείται.
hardcore characters in Diablo 2. And I lost my sorceress basically. Someone befriended me. We did bail runs for a couple hours. I'm like, this person's pretty chill.
Ήταν να γράφω τα νέα του blizzcon. Πότε πρόλαβες να γράψεις τα νέα? Τώρα ξεκίνησε.
Took the town portal back to get the rest of my loot and I don't know how this person must have been telepathic or something.
Α, ναι, από κάτω μπορείτε να πάτε στο... να κλικάρετε στο πάνελ μου που γράφει Just Gamer και να δείτε την τελευταία νέα από blizzcon. Πάκο, έχεις ιδέα πότε θα κάνει release το Diablo το 4?
I'm not even mad. Maybe in Diablo 4 I'll finally get revenge. So.
All right. Well, John and Luis talked about this expansive open world, and there will still be waypoints to travel around because we think that's really core to the fantasy of Sanctuary. With so much world to explore, we saw the opportunity to add a new feature, and that is mounts.
Mounts. Mounts. Mounts στο Diablo. Τι? Το άλογο αυτό εδώ πέρα είναι από το Warlock, έτσι. Γράψαμε ήδη για το Diablo 4, Overwatch και εγώ Shadowland. Ναι. Το release date όμως, το γράφεις.
And maybe swap out that fallen head for a different trophy. And not only does this add, you know, aesthetic customization, but also changes the gameplay. So if you're in PvP and you're running away from a sorceress that's turned hostile on you, you may want to equip some items that decrease the damage that you take on a mount, or maybe make your mount go a little bit faster so you can outrun that firewall or outrun that blizzard. And keep your ears for another day. So it's really important that mounts feel grounded in this world. Everything that we add, you'll hear us say time and time again, for this to feel like a dark, grounded world. We want these mounts to feel at home in Sanctuary. So, John, I saw that you, on your desk, you had this picture of a rainbow unicorn.
That is not true. It was on fire. If it was
ναι, ναι, ήταν φωτιά, δεν ήταν rainbow.
We'll have demon horses, flayed horses. This horse doesn't even have a face anymore. That feels pretty at home in the world of Sanctuary. And so these are the kinds of mounts that you can expect to ride around. Because Diablo is an action RPG, we want to get you back into the action as quickly as possible, and we want to do it with some flair. So we've added dismount abilities. Each class will have class-specific abilities that fit their fantasy perfectly. So if you're a sorceress and you just want to get off your horse like normal, you can still do that. Or you can turn into an ice storm and freeze everything in your path. So let's take a look at the barbarian and sorceress and some of their dismount abilities in action.
Dismount abilities. Είναι...
What do you think? Are they chasing each other or are they friends?
I think they're about to kill each other.
Probably.
Τι λες μωρέ? Αυτό τώρα είναι about to kill each other.
Combo those dismount abilities. So I guess they're friends for now.
Καλό, πολύ ωραίο.
All right, so we've talked a lot about the world above ground, but we all know that really the cool stuff in Diablo happens below ground, in dungeons. You guys want to hear about dungeons? All right, well, we've added, you know, like we have all this cool stuff above ground, but when we say return to darkness, that is a literal truth for a lot of our dungeons, and we are crafting some of the darkest, most evil spaces that you have ever explored in a Diablo game to find epic.
Έτσι πρέπει να είναι.
We're going to show some of those right now. Let's take a look.
Για να δούμε. Okay.
Those are your people, Luis.
I love the first time I went to a dungeon in Diablo 4 and I realized I was at home was when the corners were dark. I'm like,
η τύψη με τα βυζιά έξω τι φάση.
Right here, this. And if you play a class that brings the light show, here's where you see it.
Yeah, for sure. When the player's in there and you have that little pool of light around you and the dark corners, it just feels like home.
And of course, we should reassure you these are fully randomized. We're building up on our know-how from D3. It's basically DRLG 2.0. Our dungeons continue to be randomized, and not only that, but we have new features that in tomorrow's panels you'll get to check out.
And also exterior dungeons as well that are randomly generated.
So there's one thing I'm not seeing here, John.
Really? Did we leave something in?
Where do we usually go in a Diablo game?
Where do you guys want to go in Diablo? Yeah, of course we're going to hell.
Handbasket.
Ωραίο art style αυτό. Πολύ ωραίο art style αυτό.
And we're doing it, and we're really excited about it. We don't have it here today with us, but I guarantee you in the future, when you see it, we're going to really do it very soon. Yeah.
Right, so what good would all of this world and all of these dungeons be if we didn't have cool stuff to kill? So, as a former quest designer, it really excites me to do a big world RPG in the world of Diablo and finally get into the backgrounds, the backstories, and how all the pieces fit together. Like the Fallen, for example, in the demonology, how they fit in. They're at the lowest rung of basically that demonic hierarchy. All the other demons just crap on them. They get the crumbs of the human remains that are left, maybe some bones. They just take in all this insane cruelty, and then they just reflect it back into the world. That's why you have like fallen lunatics that are just ready to blow up, and like these wicked weapons with spikes, and they just look like cruel, miserable creatures. These wicked weapons with spikes, and they just look like cruel, miserable creatures. But it all comes from them taking.
Νικολάς, ρε. Γάμο το. Στο λίγο παιδί θα το φτιάξουμε. Το έχουμε τώρα. Άντε μπουρδέλο. Πικόλα. Πικόλα.
The iconic and genre-defining monsters of Diablo, like the Fallen. We also
we got some new stuff.
We got lots of new stuff because we're exploring parts of the world that we've never been to. So here's just one example, one taste. This is the Drowned. They are undead that comes from the oceans. They're linked to ancient maritime curses and stuff like that. So as we move forward, we're going to keep exploring
David Jones, anyone?
And how they fit into the world and how they work together as a family. So they have mechanics where they amp each other up and they're bigger than the sum of their parts.
Okay.
Yeah, I love the Drowned. Seeing them come out of the coastline, which you see in today's demo, is really striking.
Πολύ καλό αυτό.
All right.
Βέβαια είναι λίγο David Jones Locker.
If they weren't dropping awesome stuff. So items are one of the most important elements of Diablo, if not the most important. We're really leaning into legendaries as opening up build possibilities. We realize that with D3, we maybe emphasize sets a little bit too much, and we want to make sure that we leave room for legendaries moving forward so that we have build variety and that we don't overstep on that customization. Sets will continue to be there, but they won't dominate. Even non-legendary affixes will also lean into customization. We will have affixes that will improve your skill ranks, and we'll have affixes that will improve your passive talent ranks. And we hope that will further differentiate your build from my build. And then, great. Well, and then also, we're just building in our tools, our pipelines, and our know-how, and we're bringing even more legendaries than ever to the table.
Yeah, we're making so many legendaries, and these are just a few of them here. And actually, you're going to get to see some of them at the show today, which is pretty cool.
Super excited.
Δηλαδή.
That spiked one right there is my favorite.
Ναι, ναι.
How are you supposed to hold that?
You bleed.
It looks like
Πες
it's
το.
tetanus.
Πες το, κοπελιά. Μαλακία.
So there is much more to come. A game of this scope takes time. This is a very, very early first step. We're not coming out soon, not even Blizzard soon. We're just excited to take this first early step in the journey together with you.
Oh.
We have a demo ready for you guys to play back there.
Oh.
3 classes, our first 3 classes. We're going to have 5 when we ship. We also have 3 dungeons, lots of events, including the world event that Tiffany described, and a very small sliver of Scotland, which in itself is just a small region of the world. Please give us feedback. We want to hear what you liked, what you didn't like. Again, this is just the first step in the journey. And then
the first step.
Be here. If you're watching over the internet at home, we have streams both days. We've partnered Yep. We've partnered with streamers where you can go experience the
Ω, Riker.
And then we also have a website live with info, and we're on the hook now with you guys.
Και κρυπάριαν.
Website on a quarterly basis with a
Μπράβο.
to keep you up to date as to how we're going in the
Πολύ καλά.
All right, so yeah, right. That's super exciting. All right, so we have so many things
super
we see at the show.
exciting.
Luis talked a lot about the demo. I'm going to talk about the stuff beyond the demo. It's crazy. So there is literally a 12-foot tall Lilith in the front of Hall D.
I can see her.
Yeah, I know. I can literally see her from here. It's absolutely crazy.
Right there.
Built by the incredible Steve Wang and his incredible team. We have a slightly smaller version of Lilith, crafted by our very talented sculptors, which you will also see at the show. We have brought artifacts from the world of Diablo on display at the Dark Gallery. The Dark Gallery is kind of a first time of doing something like this. We've brought a piece of Sanctuary here, filled it with artifacts. It's some of them are made by our team. We've had some other people chip in, and it's really something pretty extraordinary. And we're excited.
Είναι καταπληκτικό το γάλμα της Lilith.
We also have the artist Brom here who
Απλά το θέλω. Το θέλω απλά.
Yeah, right. And did many beautiful paintings for Diablo 3. And he was also basically he'll be here signing prints. He painted Lilith, so that'll be in the Dark Gallery. So yeah, please stop by, get a poster signed, nerd out with us about all the things that we're gonna be doing in the future, and share your stories.
All right, I gotta have one more plug to the Dark Gallery. It's like a really messed up museum. There's also a cultist sacrifice going on in there, so if you're really big on taking photos, you can go get sacrificed on an altar. So just a suggestion, if you have some free time, go into the Dark Gallery, check out some art, maybe get sacrificed.
Yeah, that guy's terrifying.
Yeah.
Send that picture to your friends and relatives, freak them out a little bit.
Yeah, you came to BlizzCon and you got sacrificed. It's, true Diablo fans.
All right, we touched on a lot of things today really briefly, but you can find out way more at our other panels this weekend for Diablo 4. So starting off tomorrow morning, there will be a live art demonstration from Diablo 4 artists if you're interested in seeing how we create character assets for the game. So that's over in the Dark Moon Fair, and that's at 10 a.m. on the Epic stage. If you're interested in learning more about the systems and features, because we just touched really lightly on them this morning, if you're interested in learning about the classes, the skills, monsters and bosses, dungeons, items, check out that systems and features panel tomorrow right here on the stage at 12:15. If you're interested in learning more about the world that we're building and all the characters and where they're going and how we
ενδιαφέρον είναι system and features και world and lore. Αυτά τα δύο. Τα υπόλοιπα τους αφήνουν αδιάφορο. Η τέχνη. Εντάξει, ωραίο. Αλλά
if you want to take a look at that and listen to a multidisciplinary discussion on our approach for returning to darkness in Diablo, come to the art panel with John and some artists.
That's going to be
awesome. John.
Artists. On the legendary stage tomorrow afternoon at 4:15. So these three latter panels will have Q&A. So we would love to hear your questions and answer them. We're actually, you can actually submit a question physically here over at the demo station. There's a little box. You can write your question on a card and drop it into that box. Or if you're watching online, you can tweet at us at #D4QA. We'll be going through those questions, picking the best ones, and answering those in our panels.
Don't be afraid to ask hard questions. I know there's a lot of speculation that we won't. We'll take them. So give us some hard questions.
Not even Blizzard soon. Αυτό ξέρετε τι σημαίνει, Μάλλον ο κύριος Σουβλάκιος είχε δίκιο. Μπατήσαμε, παιδες. Την πατήσαμε. Τι έχει μετά το πρόγραμμα, ξέρει κανείς?
We three represent a very, very passionate team, and we want you to know that we have our team staffing the area, the demo area, and the dark gallery. That you'll see
the dark gallery
shirts. Please stop by, talk to them, let them know what you liked, what you didn't like, share your Diablo stories, ask them what their favorite class is. Maybe you let them know what classes you like and don't like.
Necromancer. Τέλος, δεν υπάρχει άλλο class. Diablo 2 Necromancer. Πέντε classes θα έχει, λέει, το Diablo το 4. Και έχουν δείξει Barbarian, Sorceress και Druid. Εντάξει, τα δύο, τα Barbarian και Sorceress τα περιμέναμε. Το Druid ήταν λίγο αναπάντεχο, αλλά οκ. Ελπίζω πραγματικά ένα από τα υπόλοιπα δύο να είναι Necromancer. Δεν την πάλι σε αυτούς.
Diablo, what?
Yes. All right, guys, let's see what you're saying about the Diablo 4 unveiled panel. Let's go straight to the social media board.
Yes.
See what's up. We've got Heroes Hype saying
This was worth the wait.
That artwork is unbelievable.
Oh man, yeah, people are already on it. All right.
Someone is in the middle of a swing. How cool is that?
Diablo 4 looks so amazing, shape-shifting in the middle of a swing.
Αν τριτοάρουμε κι εμείς τίποτα.
Very cool, Nino.
I got to play the Druid yesterday, and it's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, now we've got
Diablo 4 my BlizzCon is complete.
Diablo 4 my BlizzCon is complete.
Diablo 4.
My jaw was on the floor.
Yeah.
So pretty appropriate there.
I know, right?
My hands on Diablo.
Says, geez, I need to get my hands on Diablo art book.
Καλό.
Yeah, man, and an appropriate gift of Antonio Banderas also.
True. Make sure you guys are tweeting us your questions and cosplay photos.
As a druid in Diablo 4. Ναι.
We got Simply Saban saying, "Wait, can I have a wolf as a druid in Diablo 4?"
Yeah. Oh, Leviathan has. He says, "Druid details. The druid was actually not originally intended to be in Diablo 4. Thank goodness they changed their mind on that. Art concepts pushed them to do it."
Definitely.
Βασικά το είπε. Το είπαν κιόλας.
Culture Scribe saying, "Diablo 4 is going to be my everything." Thank you very much. Make sure you guys all tweet us your questions and cosplay photos at #BlizzCon 2019.
Άντε, γεια.
Coming up soon, we have Diablo lead game designer Jesse McCree, who will be joining us in just a few minutes. So tweet us questions for him at BlizzCon 2019. #BlizzCon 2019.
I think a lot of people have questions out there. But right now, last night, Rachel kicked off her BlizzCon weekend with a night at the fair. Let's take a look.
Hey everybody, Seltzer here, and I'm at the Dark Moon Fair, if you couldn't tell. This year, the Dark Moon Fair is back, and it's better than ever. So here to walk me through all the new and exciting changes, I've got Bria Baduya, our Associate Events Manager here at BlizzCon. Bria, we've had so many changes. What do you want to shout out?
I love that we've given the fair more scenic elements. We've added trees, and we've added a couple new activities this year to make the fair feel better than ever, and we've given it more space so we can welcome as much of the community in this weekend as possible.
And we have so much of the community here already. This is the night before BlizzCon. So tell me a little bit about what you've done tonight.
So tonight, to make it a little bit special, we've changed up the activations to give it a special touch, and we've added a live performance from the Reelers tonight that are playing some fair music for the group.
As I understand it, they've actually learned the Dark Moon Fair music.
They have. They've been working the past couple months to learn all things Dark Moon Fair.
This is really awesome. So, Bria, what do you say you and I go check out some of the new stuff that you've added to Dark Moon Fair?
Let's do it.
Ναι. Μαλακές έχουν βάλει τώρα και κάνουν.
Alright, Bria, behind us is one of the coolest things you guys have added to the Dark Moon Fair. This is the Caricature Barbershop. Little throwback to World of Warcraft there and redesigning your character, but what are we getting today for our attendees?
Tonight, the Portal Pass and Benefit Dinner folks get color portraits, which is a nice little added touch to help it feel extra special.
But if you weren't able to get here tonight, it's important to know that you can still get a caricature done, but just not in color.
Yep, absolutely. All weekend, they'll be here.
And we saw a couple different varieties for the caricatures. They're painting the heads on to match the attendees who come and sit down across from them. But tell me what my options are if I want to head on over to the caricature booth.
Yeah, so we got 4 different options. We have Tracer, Lich King, Deckard Cain, and we got Kerrigan to round it out.
And when you got your caricature done, which body did you choose?
Not gonna lie, I loved it. I did one of everything. Just a test run, you know? Just to see.
That's the dream. That's why you work at Blizzard, folks. You get all 4 of them.
Αχ, έχω να βάλει την άκυρη. Τι κάνουνε. Epic Stage.
Hey guys, Bria told us about them, but I've got them here in person. This is Riev, our band that's playing at the Dark Moon Fair tonight, and then at the Hearthstone Tavern all weekend long. But this is not your first Blizzard.
Θα παίζουν στην ταβέρνα.
What brings you back?
It's otherworldly. We feel so lucky to get to play here. We absolutely love it. Just everything about it is why we come back. We can't say enough good things about it. It's great. It's so awesome.
That's wonderful to hear you guys enjoy yourselves so much. And as I understand it, you wanted to give back to the community a little bit, so you've kind of done something special this year.
Yes, we went through all the Dark Moon Fair music and
Μπουζούκια, έτσι.
themes and melodies that we could.
Όχι μόνο μπουζούκια, και του μπερλέκια. Πάρε και του κλαρίνο. Γεια σου ρε Jim for Chicago.
When BlizzCon ends on Saturday and I don't want to think about it just yet, where can we continue to jam out to your music?
Our website, riamh.com, riamh.com.
Κλείνει τα μάτια για να θυμηθεί τα λόγια. Diablo 4 θα αρχίσω, αλλά το Overwatch 2 τι cringe μαλακία κάνανε. Ήτανε περίεργο το Overwatch το 2. Δεν ξέρω, τι εννοεί, όταν λες cringe, τι εννοείς.
BlizzCon 2019 is brought to you by T-Mobile. Their newest signal goes farther than ever, and it's built 5G ready. MSI, True Gaming. Intel, the official CPU.
Το Overwatch 2, εντάξει, δεν μου φάνηκε.
The official networking partner of BlizzCon.
Βάλε μπουζούκια στο BlizzCon next year να γίνει. Έτσι πρέπει. Να πάνε. Κλασικό μπουζούκι όμως, ρε. Μπράβο, έτσι. Σιρτάκι. Πω, δες εδώ.
Clarify to people too that the character is named after you.
Yeah, apparently I just have a good cowboy name.
You do. Well, let's jump into Diablo 4 because that was such an amazing reveal right off the top of opening ceremony.
Πάμε Diablo 4, λύση, κάσε τώρα όμως. Αυτός ο hipster τι είναι?
She's important to Sanctuary.
Yeah. Oh, sure, yeah. Well, Lilith has been in the lore for quite a long time, and she's the daughter of one of the greater evils, Mephisto. So she's a
Έχει και σκουλαρικάκι στη μύτη, Septum, ότι πας.
She's vanished to the abyss, and she's finally making her way back. In the cinematic, we show kind of the sequence that happens in order for her to get pulled back into the world.
Σαν λέει ο παπάς της ενορίας μου είναι.
She, along with Anarius, was one of the original people that created, angels and demons that created Sanctuary. So she's the progenitor of the world. She basically.
Ο άλλος ο μαύρος είναι ο Μπεμεγιάνγκ από Μάρσεν. Έχουμε celebrities ρε σε αυτό το BlizzCon φέτος. Αφού έχουμε τόσα announcements. Πολύ επιβλητική αυτή η μορφή της Lilith πάντως. Σαν goddess. Με το feminine το σώμα, αλλά χωρίς στήθος. Για να είναι το απόκοσμο. Εντάξει, τρομερό artwork αυτό, τρομερό βίντεο.
In the gameplay trailer?
Yeah, we do have mounts. So Diablo 4.
Everybody clap your hands. That's awesome.
It's something new we're doing for the game because it's an open world game and you can move around. Everything is connected, so you kind of want a faster way to travel. We still will have waypoints, which is good, clean, heroic magic, and you probably won't get disintegrated if you try to use it.
Yeah.
But mounts is a pretty good way to get around. And because Diablo 4 is an action role-playing game, we wanted to have action mounts, so you can do attacks off of your mounts.
Action mounts.
We were hoping to get a mount in the demo, but we couldn't get that far.
Yeah.
And yeah, tell us about that, because that's cool.
Yeah. So you'll have different abilities. Each character will be able to dismount in different ways.
Okay.
I don't know what they all are. But the mounts themselves also are going to be itemized, so you'll be able to add faster, make it harder to be dismounted. So depending on the types of activities you're trying to do in the open world, you'll itemize your mount with different things to make that more efficient.
So there's some customization options there.
There is customization in your mounts.
Will the druid have a mount or will the druid be a mount?
Τζιμάκο, χαλάρωσε με τα backups ρε, σε βλέπουμε, εντάξει, μην αγχώνεσαι.
They can also transform into a bear
and ride them out?
On them out?
Not while they're riding.
That would be great.
Τζέσι μακρύ, ναι ρε μαλάκα.
Who else will we be playing as on this journey?
Well, today we also
Αυτό το βλάκα έχει πάρει το όνομά το χαρακτήρα στο Overwatch.
Kind of favorites. We have 2 other classes we'll be announcing at some point in the future. Our plan is to have 5.
Oh, okay.
5.
Oh, 5 altogether.
Because it makes a pentagram. I think just 5 is a good number.
5's a good pentagram number. Yeah.
Perfect.
A
Let's
good
talk a little bit about
pentagram.
the different mobs that we're going to be facing, the different monsters and the different demons. Like, how are we looking now that we're in this version of Diablo?
Yeah, so there's quite a few monsters
Εντάξει.
coming back, including some bosses from some of the past Diablos.
Κοίτα να σου πω κάτι. No racism και no... και όχι φαλοκρατισμό, αλλά... Ο Μαυρούλης ανήκει πιο πολύ εκεί μέσα από την κόμενα. Έτσι.
A lot of the monsters, we're building them out as families, and we're trying to have them cooperate a little bit more, make their combat a little more interesting. For the bosses, we're trying to go for maybe a little more difficulty. There's some more mechanics that we've added to the game, like the dodge that we didn't have. So everyone has.
Αυτό λέω, ότι δεν θέλω να με σεξιστείς, αλλά από την τύψα πιο πολύ ανήκει ο Μαυρούλης.
Yeah, I was having a fun time just mashing the space bar with it, playing around with the dodge when I got a chance to try it. So, obviously the fundamentals of this game have changed a little bit with things like the dodge. What are some of the other new features that you're really excited to get in the players' hands with Diablo 4?
The main thing is the world itself. Because I've been playing Diablo since Diablo 1.
Ακούσατε, έχει dodge.
And over the years we've built onto that. And now finally we're building things in such a way that it's large and it's open. So just letting people explore and find all the nooks and crannies and little secrets and going into dungeons and seeing different environments in a connected way is pretty exciting for me.
Yeah, especially since you've been a player for so long. And I mean, and be able to sort of build upon this lore and this universe as it expands. And, thematically speaking, Diablo 4, this version seems a lot darker. Than the past Diablos, and that's saying a lot because that's a dark franchise.
Right. Yeah, there's always messed up stuff happening in Sanctuary, and the way that we render it varies game to game. For this version, we want to do things we were really excited about, and one of our development pillars was Return to Darkness. And that meant a lot of stuff to us. It didn't just mean physical light darkness. It also meant the tone and the mood and the vibe, and that's kind of what I'm really into is just getting people in the feeling that like things are going wrong, things are a little creepy, bad stuff can happen, and that's what we're really going for there.
Right. Well, we're on the subject of bad
stuff.
During the opening ceremony, it was mentioned that there's going to be PvP in this game. So, could you touch a little bit on how that's going to be implemented, or is this something that you could just happen at any time, or have you guys kind of mapped out where the PvP is going to happen, or?
Yeah, well, we're going to have PvP zones, so our regions, certain areas in the maps will be PvP enabled. We're experimenting with a lot of different things, actually. The main thing to know about this is we've been building the game from the ground up with PvP in mind, because we know if you don't start with that, it's hard to add it in later. So from the very beginning, this has been a goal that we've had, and we've been working to support the game to work.
Will you be able to collect ears? Like back in the day, because I remember that was a thing back in the first Diablo.
I love that. I love that. We'll see how that works. It'd be nice to have some throwbacks like that for sure.
So for you, being that this franchise obviously means a lot to you. What new features are you personally excited about bringing to players?
Well, besides the world, which I said I was super excited about, just the dungeons I think are really good. There's a lot of content to do. New bosses are super fun. Man, there's just so much. I think
in the demo we actually played. Who was the big monster that we encountered in the demo? This giant monster.
Okay. So that's one of the other new things that we're adding to the game. She's a world boss. So at certain points in the game, you'll come across a location where there'll be some truly gigantic, horrific monster, and it's going to take more than just the number of people in your party to fight it.
We died a few times.
We died a few times. I like that though. I like that it's challenging because I feel like in previous Diablos, I got good. I get my character really strong. I just kind of blow through enemies. And it feels like in this one, that's not the case at all. You're going to need to work with the teammates and really spec your character out the right way. Yeah.
I mean, concentrating on all the dodging too. That was another thing that we had to keep doing. Dodge.
Gotta evade. Yeah.
We're so happy that you came to stop by. Is there anything else that you'd like to say about Diablo 4 before we let you go?
Oh man, I'm just so proud of my team. We've been working so hard on this game, and we're so humbled and excited to be able to add to the franchise. We're all huge Diablo fans, and everyone on the team plays the game. We still all regularly play past Diablos. We talk about it. I read the books. We play the role-playing game that we put out a long time ago. So we're super entrenched in the culture and like the building of this game. and we can't wait for people to play it, to talk about it, see what they say online. Yeah, there's just I can't wait to go home and just read everything people are saying and
I think
kind of
you're going to be really happy. Everything I've been seeing is so positive.
I hope so.
That movie was incredible. Congratulations on everything. Jesse McCree, thank you so much for stopping by and talking to us. Everyone watching, it's now time to head over to the Mythic stage for Overwatch. What's next?
Long time no see. So I'm Jeff.
And I'm Aaron.
So Aaron's very humble. So how many WoW fans are here today?
Oh my God.
Okay. I'm not making this up. You can watch this on YouTube. Aaron is the gentleman who made Stormwind, Orgrimmar, Thunderbluff, Ironforge, Darnassus for World of Warcraft. And for those of you who are Overwatch fans, what is the best map in Overwatch? Aaron made King's Row. Okay.
Thank you for all of that.
And
that's not embarrassing at all.
No, not embarrassing at all. And he prefers to be called Aaron. Everyone's been pronouncing it wrong all these years. Aaron,
that's my mom. Yeah. Okay.
So Overwatch 2, we're talking about it in detail now.
I'm so excited to talk to all of you about Overwatch 2. We said it in opening ceremonies. It's so hard not to be able to talk about it with friends and family and actually use the name Overwatch 2. But here we go.
There it is.
You want to start with push?
You start. You kick it off.
Okay, so we've built a lot of game modes for Overwatch over the years. Things like Junkensteins or Capture the Flag or Lucio Ball. But those have always been featured in the arcade. Push is the first game mode that we've released since launch.
Μάγκα μου, θα το αργήσουνε το τζιμάκο, θα το αργήσουνε το τέτοιο. Καταρχήν, βγάλ' τα κάψου, μαλάκα. Βγάλ' τα κάψου, σε βλέπω. Λοιπόν, το αναφέρανε ότι θα το αργήσουνε το Diablo. Και όχι απλά θα το αργήσουνε, θα το ξεφτυλίσουνε από ό,τι κατάλαβα. Ακούς για το Overwatch. Κάτσε μόνο, θα τα ακούσουμε. Σταμάτα.
The team that pushes it the furthest before time expires wins the match. That's the robot.
Βγάλε τα κάψ.
As you stand near the robot, it will start moving towards the enemy's face.
Until May gets down.
Yeah, exactly. As the robot moves, it pushes a barricade marker further into enemy territory. The further the marker goes, the higher your team's score gets. As it hits a checkpoint, your team will unlock a forward spawn point.
Like a nice spot.
He's a little itchy.
Yeah, I love this guy. As he's pushing the barricade marker, the robot moves slower. But when he's not pushing the marker, he moves a lot faster. This allows teams to make up lost ground really quickly in the mode. Okay, so May needs to escort the robot further into enemy territory than Brigitte's team did. And if she can escort it all the way till the end of the map, it'll result in an instant victory for her and her team. Like this.
Victory. Πολύ καλό.
Yeah, I would say so far internally we don't have a lot of the maps go all the way to the end, which is a good thing. Most of the maps are like more back and forth.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the design values that we had for Push is it's more interesting to have that robot move back and forth across the map. And if you look at the map, you can see that it's mirrored. It's mirrored from one side to the other. It's a symmetrical map. And the game mode itself is a symmetrical game mode. What that means is each team has the same objective that they need to accomplish in order to win the match. This is similar to something like Control. Control, both teams are vying for one control point in the middle of the map. What I think is really cool about Push, though, is as the robot moves back and forth across the map, the team fights that are everything in these symmetrical modes happen all across the map, in contrast to Control, where a lot of them happen at the control point in the middle of the map. If you look at this next shot, you can see that the path that winds its way through Toronto in this map is really windy. That red line illustrates the path that the robot takes through Toronto. What this means is that there's a lot of different shortcuts and connections in order to connect different parts of the path. This makes the game mode really flanky. And heroes that you might not see in some of our other game modes, or you might not see as prominently, such as Reaper and Tracer, are really, really powerful in this game mode. Internally in our testing, we typically use different comps in push than we do in all the other game modes. And I can't wait for you guys to play it. You can play it on the show floor today and see what sort of team compositions you guys create.
Cool. Let's take a look at Toronto a little bit. Why don't we talk about some of our values from a world building standpoint?
Yeah, so when we build maps, we always like to take players on a journey all across the world. And we like to visit unique and exciting and exotic locations. And when we build them, we try to make them fit the ideal or the fantasy of what we've always imagined that place in the world to be. With Toronto, it's the red maple trees, it's ice rinks, a curling arena, a statue of a hockey player.
Tons of hockey. Very multicultural. So Toronto was a blast to work on. But what's very exciting for our players
Τελευταίος χάρτης τι είναι?
It's going to be all new PvP maps, not just for push, which will have multiple new maps with it. It won't just be Toronto, but every current core game mode in Overwatch is going to get Overwatch 2 maps.
Yeah, we'll get multiple maps for every game.
Πολύ καλό αυτό.
And I think this is so exciting because the game, when Overwatch 2 launches, it's going to feel like such a new experience. I know we're going to talk a lot about the cooperative missions up here, but even on the PvP side of the game, having a bunch of new maps to play on is going to make this feel like a totally new experience for Overwatch 2 players.
Yeah, let's check it out. We've got some footage here now. I have to warn everybody, all of this is work in progress. We are hard at work on Overwatch 2 right now. So none of the maps that you're seeing are finished. Not even Toronto, not even Rio out on the show floor today. None of them are finished. They're all going to be that much cooler when we're done. We're also looking forward to getting a lot of play testing, a lot of feedback, but you can see some of the locations that we're really excited to explore. And many of these maps we've been playing for a while now and having a really good time.
Yeah, I think one of the great things about making maps for the Overwatch universe is that a lot of the people on our team
are
from locations all across.
Το ρομποτσκάι damage όμως δεν μπρο. Ή απλώς αν δούλες που είναι το ψυγείο. Μόνο το... Όχι, πρέπει να το αγοράσεις πάλι. Αλλά θα μπορείς να παίζεις στα άλλα τα modes, πέρα από το push νομίζω. Όχι, ψέματα. Και στο push. Θα μπορείς να παίζεις και ας έχεις το Overwatch 1.
Coming with Overwatch 2, a lot of new locations, places that you want to see, like Gothenburg. There's a couple of heroes from Gothenburg we think would be really cool. But it's time to talk about story missions.
Ωραία. Τα story missions, αυτά θα είναι Overwatch 2 μόνο. Και τα hero mission. Επίσης, πραγματικά αν δεν βγάλεις τα caps θα φας stat ban.
I'm going to do a quick recap on like where the story's at right now. So obviously this is since the original game. The original game started with Overwatch being shut down. Overwatch was this international peacekeeping force. The UN issued this thing called the Petrus Act, and that shut Overwatch down. Then, because of the absence of Overwatch and the heroism that they brought to the world, new threats were able to arise, and all sorts of bad stuff started to happen. There was the uprising in London. There was Talon really became much more of a threat and gained in power in this sort of new vacuum that we had. But our good buddy Winston had the idea to initiate the recall. And what the recall is about is he knows it's illegal to reach out to all of the Overwatch agents, the former Overwatch agents, and basically say to them, hey, it's time to get back together. Like, now's the time. The world needs us now more than ever. So then we had shorts, and it was really fun to explore these and kind of go on this journey to see how different heroes reacted to the recall. There was, for example, in Honor and Glory, you know, Reinhardt in the most steadfast way said, I must answer the call.
Εντάξει, λένε για τους χαρακτήρες. Που λες, όλα τα PvP maps και είναι οι χαρακτήρες, όλοι θα είναι και available για το Overwatch 1. Αλλά το Overwatch 2 θα έχεις αυτά τα story missions, τα PvE missions δηλαδή, και τα hero missions, που είναι σαν αποστολές. Να πάρετε, έλα, καλά, εντάξει, αυτό είναι αλήθεια. Κοίτα, να σου πω κάτι. Οκ, ναι. Μπορείς να το πάρεις όταν βγει στα 15 ευρώ, όπως το έχουν τώρα το Overwatch. Line, άμα θες να δεις τα hero missions, το PvE element του παιχνιδιού. Diablo 4, εννοείται. Εννοείται. Άμα μάθουμε πότε θα βγει.
This is an all-out attack on the entire world. The good news is, joining Winston in Paris were some of the members of Overwatch. Some responded to the call.
Επίσης, Diablo 4 λέει πέρα από το dodge που έλεγε και τι άλλο, τα mounts. Ήταν και ότι αλλάζεις για κάθε skill, ξέρω εγώ, που κάνεις, μπορείς να του κάνεις assign ένα διαφορετικό όπλο. Ή ας πούμε στο druid μπορείς να του κάνεις assign ένα διαφορετικό form. Ναι, cinematics η Blizzard είναι top of the line πραγματικά όμως. Pixar, εντελώς.
Animators, producers, directors, we're really lucky to work with them. Every one of our story missions will get a cinematic introduction and we'll get a cinematic outro. So you'll experience that. You'll see that in the Rio de Janeiro demo that we have. Now, I've got to give a warning to everybody. The outro is a placeholder for the actual movie. So I will just say this. I'm going to give a spoiler right now.
Oh, no.
So at the very end, what's May's famous line at the very end? Lucio! Lucio doesn't actually die. So, okay. That's all you need to know. But we're excited for the cinematic storytelling that we get to do. You finally get to spend a lot of time with these heroes. So in a story mission, it's very curated by us. Like, we get to pick which heroes you're going to play in a story mission because we're trying to tell a particular story. So in Rio, for example, we've got May, we've got Reinhardt, Lucio, and Tracer. Those are the heroes that you can adventure with.
Yeah, I think what's
υπάρχει ακόμα. Και έλαντε, και όμως υπάρχει.
All of the cooperative gameplay that we're trying to do is one of our goals is to bring a lot of the fast-paced action that you get in Overwatch PvP, where you're using all of your heroes' abilities, your comboing abilities with other heroes. You have a lot of strategic decisions that you make with your teammates. We're trying to bring that to the PvE side of the game, or the side where you play versus AI, and it's difficult to do because of the fast-paced nature of it. So that cinematic storytelling that Jeff was just talking about, that gives us the freedom to create more of those spaces. We can pull the story out to the cinematics and allow the gameplay to really flow as you're playing through any of the missions.
So one thing that we're experimenting with, because Overwatch 2 still has a ways to go. It's a game that's actively in development. We're working extremely hard on it right now. One of the experiments that we're doing right now is we're trying to give you some choice in what hero you can play in these story missions. And I don't mean like choice between the 4 heroes. What I mean is, for example, in Rio, both Mercy and Genji are present on the mission as well. Wouldn't it be cool in this mission if you had a choice not only between, Reinhardt, Tracer, Lucio, Mei, but also like maybe if I wanted to play Mercy instead or Genji. So we're trying that out right now. Like obviously it doesn't work for all heroes because like Roadhog wouldn't make a lot of sense helping the team out in Rio. But we'll see how that goes. We'll keep you guys updated. I think it could be pretty cool. Now another new development that you'll experience when you play the demo today is that we've added an item system to the
item system.
Now this is not an item system. It's not like Diablo where like it's going to be popping out of robots. We're all looking at the ground, picking up gold and that kind of thing. And it's not like WoW where we're waiting for the boss at the end of the mission and we're going to kill it and then Aaron's going to roll on my drop. But it's the item system, I would say, is more equivalent to what you see in like a battle royale game. If you guys have played like Apex Legends or PUBG, it's a temporary item pickup that you have for the length of that mission, and you'll find these at different moments throughout the mission. And they have different abilities. So we're looking at here as a healing station that's actually of epic quality. So there's different quality levels to them too. But like Aaron might prefer the corrosive grenade.
Yeah, if
grenade deals damage and makes enemies take 60% more damage.
You're already healing everybody in your party.
Okay.
So something like the corrosive grenade, which helps you deal extra damage to enemies, is a really good choice.
Another item that we added was this thing called the barrier fence. This is like a cylindrical barrier, kind of similar to how Winston's work. You drop it down, it sits in place. This one's been super awesome. Like if your group's having a lot of trouble and people need to be revived, you can drop the barrier fence down and it gives you an opportunity to revive them. So we hope that the item system adds some variety to the story and also lets you accommodate for the type of player you are and gives you some options when you're playing the missions.
Yep.
There's also in the Rio demo, there's a very rare item, kind of, I want to say hidden, but it's not really hidden.
You're giving it all away.
I'm giving it all away, but see if you can get it. Okay, cool.
Okay, so hero missions. While story missions are really designed to take players through a story experience, hero missions are designed to be deeply replayable. I think one of the great things about...
Με λίγα λόγια, το story missions το παίζεις μία φορά και τέλος. Δεν έχει νόημα να το ξαναπαίξεις.
And what I mean by that is we make games that you can play as your main game or you can play as your only game. I think that hero missions fit into the role where you can play them night after night, week after week, and year after year. This is really the long tail.
Decade after decade.
Was I getting a little too dramatic with that? Okay, I do that sometimes. So like one of the analogies that we use internally for hero missions is there are equivalent to adventure mode in Diablo or world quests in World of Warcraft. So it's something that we really want you to be able to sink a lot of time into. And we'll get into progression a little bit later, but it really dovetails with the hero progression in Overwatch 2. Those two systems rely on each other, and they kind of play with each other back and forth. Now, I think that for hero missions, there's a lot of different things that make them replayable and give them the variety that you need to be able to play them for a long period of time. And one of those is varied locations. And what I mean by this is that hero missions will take place all across the globe in new levels that are coming to Overwatch 2, and in all of the levels that we've already built for Overwatch 1, you'll be able to play hero missions in all of those.
So another cool variable that you'll have with hero missions that will keep it fresh and new is that the objectives will keep changing.
Yeah, so you could do all sorts of different objectives in hero missions. We want them to feel kind of fresh and new each time you go into one of them. So one hero mission might be surviving a holdout in Winston's lab in Gibraltar, or another one might be taking out like a null sector behemoth in Route 66. And so
Null sector behemoth.
have you going through a lot of different locations, doing a lot
Θα έχει
of
αυτό το boss δηλαδή, σαν αυτό που είδαμε στο cinematic.
The third piece to them is the hero roster that you'll be able to pick from. So in story missions, we're trying to tell a very specific narrative, and we need there to be certain heroes there. And like Jeff said earlier, it doesn't really make a lot of sense for Widowmaker and Tracer to go out on a story mission together. But in hero mode, we want you to be able to pick from all of the different heroes that are available.
Yeah, we feel like hero choice is extremely important. One of the things that in general, both story missions and hero missions we're really excited for is the promise of Overwatch is that there's these 31 amazing heroes for us to play with. But the reality for a lot of us is I might be good with about 4 of them. And if I care about my SR at all, I maybe only play like 4 or 5 heroes, even though I really would love to explore this hero roster. The good news is we feel like in the PvE side of the game, you will really get a lot of exploration through the heroes. And I think hero missions in particular will feel great to play and level up different heroes.
Yeah, definitely. And there's a lot of reasons to pick from different heroes here. As Jeff mentioned, and if you're playing competitive, you might want to stick to just a few. But as you're going on different hero missions, you might want to pick a particular hero because you think it's really good for a certain objective type. Bastion and Reinhardt work really, really well in holdouts, you know? You might also be picking a hero because as we get into the progression system, you'll see you might want to start leveling up a hero because you're really excited about a particular build that you might be able to get for that hero.
I can't wait to talk about the progression system. But before we do, there's
Progression
one more
system.
part of what's going to keep the hero missions fresh and keep them interesting, and that's different enemy groups.
Yeah, so well, you'll be able to play against a lot of different enemy groups in hero missions for Overwatch 2. You saw Null Sector in 0 Hour, the cinematic that we showed during opening ceremonies. There's also Talon. Talon has obviously been a force for evil in the Overwatch universe, and I hope that we can see more of them in Overwatch 2 and kind of see what they're up to. And then beyond those two, you know, there's other things. There's other threats that are out there in the Overwatch universe, and I'm hoping that we can see
I think everyone could imagine some amazing enemy groups that they'd love to
Μας δείξουν όμως κανένα άλλο group, κανένα άλλο enemy group. Αυτό τα ξέραμε.
All right, so the progression system. This is really exciting. Now, I have to caveat this a bit. As I mentioned, Overwatch 2 is still in development. We have a long ways to go before this game is fully ready. So we're only showing you kind of a part of the progression system right now. And it's also likely that progression could change a lot from now and the time that the game is released. You need a lot of iteration, a lot of play testing on this type of system. But we wanted to share parts of it with you. So by no means is this comprehensive. This isn't the only ideas that we have. This is sort of the tip of the iceberg. And it will give you a sense of the direction that we're exploring right now. So an interesting thing to talk about is the talent system. So we had originally designed the talent system for hero missions, not story missions. But as we were approaching BlizzCon this year, we knew that we were going to show a story mission, and we didn't have any progression stuff to show, and we thought it was super fun. So we actually hooked up the talent system from hero missions into the story experience. And there was like a funny side effect of that, where many members of the Overwatch team were like, actually, this is really awesome and super fun, and I hope we figure out a way to keep talents in the story missions eventually when they happen. So I don't know if that's going to be the case by the time the game launches, but for now you can see Tracer has a level. She can level up, and at different levels she gets different selection of talents, like, and these talents do different things. They definitely have player power involved. That's the goal. We want you to feel more powerful. Now, I know a lot of people raised an eyebrow when I said that. Any sort of talents or progression or anything like that is not going to come into the competitive part of the game. We're not going to make it so my tracer is more powerful than your tracer. Well, mine is, but anybody else's tracer is more powerful. We want to keep it a fair playing field. But like we always say, when it comes to PvE, the robots don't post on the forums.
Exactly. Yeah. We can make it unfair. You know,
it could be OP, yeah.
Yeah, we have a lot of values that we're trying to adhere to as we design the progression system. As Jeff said earlier, like one of those is to make your heroes feel more powerful. You'll become more powerful. You'll be doing more damage as you progress through this system. But that's not all. We want you to feel more versatile. We want you to be able to put together a build for your hero that fits your particular play style, and we also just want your hero to be able to feel different from other people's heroes as well.
Μπορείς να αλλάξεις χαρακτήρα στα...
Is a great example of a talent. I'm not sure if you all can read adaptive reload, but the gist of it is whenever Tracer does an ability like blink or recall, her pistols reload automatically, and like this is a talent that speaks to you and your playstyle.
Yeah, so I pick adaptive reload a lot because every time you use any ability, she gets a full clip again, and so
έχει δύο abilities και ένα ulti.
If you use this correctly and you kind of play Tracer with the right cadence, you never run out of ammo. You always have it, and it just feels so powerful.
Now, other players don't have an issue with Tracer's reload cadence. It feels natural to them. They're used to it.
Is there like a problem with the way that I've...
No, it's okay. The world needs you too, Aaron. But you know, some other players might want to take an ability like chain reaction, which is a little bit more powerful, but centered more around her ultimate. And this one, I think the video just shows it best, and it sort of speaks for itself. So we can check it out here in action. So yeah, that'd be fun. Imagine that in PvP. That would team kill. Yeah.
12,000 IQ.
Obviously, we think that would be awesome. Now, let's show you some other talents that are work in progress, but we think are cool.
Yeah, this one is super exciting. So
any Hanzo mains out there? Yeah.
Okay. So Jiro's guidance. This is any arrow that hits an enemy detected by sonic arrow will seek and pierce all other detected enemies. I know it's kind of a mouthful, but you can see it in the video here.
The talent speaks for itself.
Γαμάτο.
This is cool too because
Γαμάτο.
is useful in PvE, but nowhere to the degree that it is in the competitive side of the game. So this adds a lot of usefulness to it on the PvE side of the game.
Yeah, and hopefully you guys can start using your imagination for the different types of things that we'll be able to do with talents here, and how you'll be able to use some of them to kind of combo into other abilities.
Πολύ καλό αυτό.
Oh yeah, here it comes. This one is called Epic Enter.
Epic Enter.
Did I say it wrong?
No, that was perfect.
Okay. Oh, epicenter. Okay. So, as many of you know, Reinhardt's Earthshatter ability is a cone-based ability. But imagine if it worked in 365 degrees.
Yeah.
360 degrees. Because 365 degrees would be breaking mathematics.
Sure. Yeah. I actually think what this one does is it makes a bicycle magically appear. Wow,
and it did make a bicycle magically appear. So really fun for you, Ryan.
Where does it come from?
Where does it? I think it makes a robot transform into a bicycle.
Troll.
Aaron and I have watched this like 500 times, and it doesn't get old.
Not at all.
Καλό.
So this one was in the gameplay movie. Do you want to talk about it?
Yeah, okay. So this is a cryo freeze ability, and when it ends, it'll instantly freeze all nearby enemies. And if any of you are May players, you'll kind of you'll know that like coming out of cryo freeze is kind of a scary moment where all the enemies are just kind of waiting there to blast you. And so this talent kind of takes care of that.
Really frozen.
Yeah, so it gives it a lot of utility, and it adds to that the defensive nature of the ability. Obviously, in the competitive side of the game, this would be my worst nightmare.
Yeah.
Βέβαια.
Speaking, okay.
Yes.
This is the best.
I love this
Continue to
one.
move
I
after
hope you
using
guys
cry
really
of
like
freeze
this
and
one.
rolling
Snowball
down,
effects.
knocking down enemies.
Internally, we just call this bowling for robots.
What? Λες ρε μαλάκα.
You can't let the hamster have all the fun.
Τι έκανε ρε μαλάκα.
Yeah. Let's see it one more time.
Okay, γίνεται παγάκι.
This is another ability that you saw in the gameplay trailer
Dragons,
earlier
bro.
today. The reason I like this one,
Slash created
I don't know if anybody plays Genji
piercing
like
projectile.
I do, but when I play Genji and I press my ultimate ability button, usually there's no one anywhere near me. And I'm standing there and my dash is on cooldown and I just kind of feel stupid. And then like I go back and I watch those YouTubes and I'm like, how do they do it?
Need healing.
Yeah, exactly. But this ability is made for someone like me. So he actually gets to shoot out a projectile from his sword. So it gives a lot of extra ability. You know, you could really tune Genji to your play style and really adjust it. So one of the cool things is like, imagine if we started to combine talents. Like, it's not like the heroes are just going to have one talent. They're going to have a bunch of talents they can pick from and create builds.
Yeah, and so this is an example of two talents.
Γελάει με τα ούλα.
The first one
με τα ούλα της.
is Torbjorn turning his turret into a flamethrower rather than a minigun. And then the second turret allows him to place 3 mini turrets instead of one large.
The second talent, βρε. Turret.
So this is the kind of combination we're really hoping to see.
Πολύ δυνατό.
PvE side of the game.
This poor last robot.
Yeah, he took it all.
Bad for him.
Just like a
Καλησπέρα ρε Μίκε Κόλλας.
One more time.
Aren't fire hoses water?
Oh, the terrible analogy. I already said
Hello.
365 degrees. The water hose analogy for the flamethrower.
Water hose.
Awesome. Now, another huge part of Overwatch 2 is all of the upgrades coming to the engine. I've seen some confusion. I see people keep calling it a new engine. It is a greatly upgraded version of the engine, but it is not a new engine. I think that's important to point out. There's a panel where John LaFleur, who's our tech director, Arnold Sang, who's our assistant art director, and Bill Petrus, who is our art director, they're going to tell you all in depth about the upgraded hero visuals and
don't care
to the Overwatch 2 engine. But for now, we wanted to share with you guys some of the idea of why do we want to do upgrades to the hero visuals. Obviously, there's some part of it where it's a brand new game. We want it to have a new look. We want it to feel fresh and awesome, and you know, just really, really overwhelm you with how beautiful the game could be. But we also wanted to show some passage of time as well. Like we were doing a lot of storytelling in this game, and we want to show the journey of the heroes. A good analogy that I like to use when talking about how and why we decided to upgrade the hero visuals is Batman. So, you know, Batman existed really over the decades. There's been, you know, early comic book Batman from the original comic. There was the 60s live action TV show, Batman. There was the 80s, Adam West, it's awesome.
Τι μας λέει για τον Batman?
The 80s Tim Burton movie Batman. There was the Christopher Nolan Batman. But all of those versions of Batman was instantly recognizable. Every time you saw him, you'd never mistook him for another superhero. They were all iconic, but they were all different from one another. And that's been sort of our guiding vision for updating the hero look. So, like, we can take a look at Genji right now. There's classic Genji and Overwatch 2 Genji. And Overwatch 2 Genji, obviously there's a lot of visual upgrades that happened to him. But from a story perspective, you see that he's kind of at a different point in his journey as well.
Μπουφανάκι, παντελονάκι. Μόνο παντελονάκι.
Here's a sneak peek. I don't think anybody's seen Torbjorn or Bastion's new looks yet.
Miraculously.
The internet was lazy this week and left these for Friday. I don't know why. It's so boring. But these are kind of cool. Like, you want to talk about Torb and Bastion a little bit?
Yeah, so I'm gonna love it. So this kind of this look that they have, it kind of pairs Torbjorn and Bastion up with each other. So Bastion is now in the story living with Torbjorn. So some of the upgrades that he's getting are from Torbjorn himself. And if you look, he's actually wearing one of Torbjorn's favorite hats. You know, he needs to keep the sun out of his eyes, and the rain off his head, or something like that.
Totally need that as a robot. Cool. So this is actually
Lina
the
Oxton.
Overwatch 2 engine. These are the actual character models. And, you know, obviously they all have the new looks here, but other things that's going on here is we have a completely new way of doing eyes in the game. We have a new way of rendering hair, skin. All of these things are focuses of our art team and our graphics engine team right now. Just make the characters.
Να σου πω κάτι ειλικρινά τώρα. Εμένα μου φαίνεται σαν downgrade από το κανονικό Overwatch. Δεν ξέρω. Τι λέτε. Εμένα μου φαίνεται πάντως σαν downgrade τα γραφικά. Οκ, μπορεί να φτιάξουν λίγο το μοντέλο για το κάνουν πιο, δεν ξέρω, πιο ωραία, αλλά τα γραφικά μου φαίνονται πιο, δεν ξέρω.
This new game with Overwatch 2, we have a big story that we want to tell too. So the engine needs all these upgrades. The map that you guys can play on the show floor, Rio de Janeiro, it's twice the size of any map that we've ever made for the game. And the guts of the engine have just had to get upgraded in order for us to be able to deliver all of this story to you guys.
So the hero visuals and the map stuff, like Aaron's talking about, is not the only new changes to the game. We've also completely upgraded the HUD. So you're seeing that here. We're trying, the goal with the HUD is to get it out of your way. So you're not thinking about it. It's more something that you feel and intuitively it gives you the information.
Ναι ρε, εσύ αυτό λέω.
We're all going to be very opinionated about the HUD. The good news is we are still early in development, and every single hero in both the Rio demo and the Toronto demo has a new HUD. So you can give us feedback on all of them, and we have time to make tweaks and adjustments. This was done by an artist named Jason Kirby, who works on our team, who did the new HUD. One of the things
Εντάξει, το HUD, το εικονίδιο κάτω της Mercy μου θυμίζει το άλλο, το game που αντιγράφει το Overwatch. Πώς λέγεται, το Paladins.
You can also see there's new hit markers around the reticle. We have new edge of screen effects. We take this part of the game really, really serious. Overwatch PvP is all about split-second decisions, really fast reads, and the HUD gives you a lot of information. So like Jeff said, we are looking at this really carefully. If you guys have feedback on it, we'd love to hear it. We have time to make it better, and we're going to do everything we can to do that.
Yeah, and it's not just the HUD. Every screen of interface is updated in Overwatch 2. So your menus, how you browse the hero gallery, it's a completely brand new game with a completely new interface, and that's, I think, very important. I think a lot of us, you know, have decided, you know, there's certain things like player icons could use some help when finding the one you want. We're upgrading all of those elements. There's even things, some of you will notice this when you play Toronto, there's even a new announcer. And I'd be curious if you recognize who the voice is of that new announcer.
So mysterious.
Yeah.
Δεν μας νοιάζει για τον announcer, πραγματικά.
So cool. What is, Aaron, when we say Overwatch is all about one thing, what is always the answer?
Heroes.
So, Overwatch 2 will obviously come with brand new heroes. Now, what's important to us with the Overwatch 2 heroes is not only do they fit gameplay roles that are very important to the game right now, things that we feel that the game needs, but also that the hero's story is centered in the story.
Μαλή είναι αυτό τώρα, είναι αυτό τώρα γραφικά.
Sojourn is coming to
Από upgraded μηχανή.
She's our first
Greatly upgraded κιόλας.
I should say second Canadian hero.
That's true.
Because the first is Arnold Sang, our assistant art director. And we love him dearly. But Sojourn will be the second one coming. Sojourn is right at the center of the story of Overwatch 2. So we liked her in Storm.
Sojourn.
You're going to get to spend a lot more time with her.
Sergeant.
to Overwatch 2, and she is by far not the only character coming to Overwatch 2. There are a few heroes that will all come at once. I don't know how many of you remember, but there was, way back in the beta, we added Diva, Mei, and Genji all at the same time. And it was probably the most beautiful chaos I've ever seen in a video game. Well, maybe the Encourage Gate opening. That was some good video game chaos. But Overwatch 2 is going to really add some mix-ups to the meta. Introduce, we think, characters that you're going to love, characters that you've been waiting for.
Εντάξει, και όλοι οι καινούργιοι χαρακτήρες θα μπουν και στο παλιό Overwatch. Και όλα τα καινούργια maps. Και όλα τα καινούργια game modes. Εκτός από το...
Touch on this again. I mentioned opening ceremonies, and between opening ceremonies and the panel, I've been spending time reading people's reaction, and there seems like there's so much confusion about what does redefining a sequel mean. So I'm going to try to put it in a different way this time. Imagine we're coming up with a brand new game that we're dying to make, and it's called Overwatch 2, and we start to think of the feature list that we want. We want brand new heroes. We want all new PvP maps, like a whole roster, you know, equivalent to what we did in the first game of PvP maps. We want to have story missions, hero missions. We're going to add progression. We're adding talents. We're upgrading the engine. We're adding new looks to all the characters. We're like, that sounds like an amazing sequel to us.
No.
Does it sound like one to you? Okay. Now, you all know what the video game industry does. And you are the most powerful people in the video game industry. It is not us. It is you. You have more of a say than anybody else. And how many times has... Imagine your favorite game. It could, let's say it's a game that has, I don't know, Space Marine in it, that has PvP and PvE and has a story, and you want to play Space Marine number 3 because you've been playing Space Marine number 2, and the day that comes out, you lose all your stuff, and then your buddy, because his grandma didn't buy it for him for Christmas, is playing Space Marine 2 and you're playing Space Marine 3.
And you don't get to play together.
You don't get to play together. And all the stuff that I earned in Space Marine 2 doesn't come with me. We think that sucks. We don't think that should be rewarded by you, the most important people in the game industry. So we wanted to make it so that every one of the new PvP maps that's coming to Overwatch 2, every one of the new heroes that's coming to Overwatch 2, and new heroes beyond that will go to the players, our dedicated fans who have been with us for all these years from the original game. We think that's important. We also feel like it's important for all that hard work that you've done. The Baptiste vampire skin you all just earned last week. Do you want it to go away? No. We want it to come with us. So that's what we mean by redefining a sequel. I know there's a lot of confusion. I actually think it's really simple. The game is a big game. It is a true sequel in all of its features and everything it does. We just don't want to be jerks about all of our loyal players who might be wondering if they should get the game or not. That's the idea.
Με λίγα λόγια, οπότε μόνο τα story και τα hero missions δεν παίζουν στο Diablo, λέω, στο Overwatch 1.
It's coming to, obviously, Battle.net on the PC platform, the Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 4, and Xbox One. So, every single platform we support today will be supported
the Nintendo Switch. Ναι. Α, ναι. Τα μαλλιά του Πλαστελίνη, άραγε το Overwatch το 1 θα κρατήσει το art style του. Δεν μπορώ να καταλάβω.
Like, just let us make it great. Like, that's what we care about more than anything. We don't have a date in mind. We are going to...
Don't have a date in mind.
Like, today is the most important day in Overwatch 2's development.
Δεν με ενδιαφέρει για το Overwatch 2 όμως και πάρα πολύ, να σου πω την αλήθεια. Εγώ για το Diablo 4 θέλω ένα date. Ένα release date.
and what do you want out of the game? You're gonna all go. You're gonna play the demo. You're gonna post feedback. You're gonna talk to us here today. We want to hear from you what needs to change. What features are we missing? What's gonna be cool? What isn't cool? So I don't have a date.
No, and I mean, we love this game so much, and we just want you guys to love it too, the same way that we do.
Ναι, γι' αυτό θα το βγάλουμε ποτέ.
So, we're probably going to go dark after BlizzCon. I know there's going to be a million questions, and people are going to want to hear, okay, like reveal another hero or show me, like, have you ever wondered what Moira's new look might be? Yeah, it's amazing, it's so by the way. But
It's amazing, by the way.
God, we're just jerks.
We are.
We're jerks right now.
It feels so good.
There's still some cool
Τα μαλλιά...
But we're going to be quiet.
Πλαστικάκι.
We are going to be quiet. We have a lot of work to do. The team is focused on Overwatch 2. That doesn't mean the live service behind. There are still some cool updates coming. We want to add new stuff. Now, I want to get this out there right away. We are not adding a new Archives event to Archives this year because we are focused on Overwatch 2. We feel like that's the better storytelling experience. We are still going to run the Archives event. There will be new skins. There's going to be new cosmetic content. There are also other awesome features coming to the live game that we think you should be excited about. Coming very soon, you are going to get to select what you do when you are waiting for roll queue to kick in. So if you'd like to go to the training room, we're going to let you do that. If you would like to play a new deathmatch mode that we're adding just for waiting, you can play that. If you would like to go to custom game and or workshop and play whatever the hell you want, you can do that very soon. So there are lots of cool updates coming to the original game, but please bear with us while we focus on Overwatch 2. We want to make it amazing for all of you. Thank you all so much. We know how many cool things there are at BlizzCon for you to check out. The fact that so many people came here today.
Gracias, Papahef.
Me and Aaron, it means the world to us.
Εγώ είχε ενδεικτική ημερομηνία 31 Δεκάτου 2020. Diablo δεν έχει κάτι τέτοιο στο site.
Thank you, BlizzCon.
Το ξέρω. Για το Diablo δεν είπανε. Και λένε όχι μόνο αυτό, λένε ότι θα αργήσει το Diablo, λέει, και δεν θα είναι ούτε καν το Blizzard αργήσει. Τώρα αν το κάνω όπως το Diablo 2, Diablo 3 είναι αναμονή που ήταν 10 χρόνια, δεν νομίζω. Αλλά πολύ φοβάμαι ένα παιδαλικάρι πριν προηγουμένως είχε πει 2 χρόνια. Φοβάμαι ότι μάλλον για εκεί το βλέπουμε. 31 Δεκάτου 2020 είναι ασφαλής ημερομηνία για να έχουν το κεφάλι του ήσυχο. Προφανώς και δεν θα βγει τότε. Αλέσαι. Το 31 Δεκάτου γιατί είναι για το WoW. Όχι για το Diablo. Michael Shu. Ναι, λέει το νωρίτερο. Το 31 Δεκάτου το νωρίτερο. Μήπως το αργότερο μάλλον. Συνήθως, κοίτα, τα World of Warcraft πάντα εκείνη την εποχή βγαίνανε, Αύγουστο με Σεπτέμβριο. Τα περισσότερα expansion δηλαδή αυτή την εποχή βγαίνανε.
What happened after Winston pushed that button and all the Overwatch heroes, new heroes, are going to respond and how the world is going to change?
I mean, it's been taking some time, obviously, but we have been building up to it for many years now. Like, all of the cinematics, everything is sort of built up to this point about how everyone feels about that recall.
Yeah.
So, like, where'd you kind of settle on that then? How's everyone feeling?
It's really going to depend on the character.
Όχι απλά το 31 Δεκάτου το βάζουν γιατί δεν έχουν ακόμα ημερομηνία επίσημη. Εντάξει, ναι. Εντάξει, δεν νομίζω όμως να σου πούνε να βγει το game αρχές καλοκαιριού ή πριν το καλοκαίρι του 2020. Δηλαδή θα είναι σίγουρα Τέλη καλοκαιριού με φθινόπωρο. Δεν νομίζω να πάει χειμώνα. Και εγώ δεν νομίζω να πάει χειμώνα, αλλά μέσα στο φθινόπωρο θα είναι.
Especially, I think about the fact that McCree was not in that video and like thinking about where he stands, especially after last BlizzCon where he brought out Echo.
Καλά, έλαντε. Ναι, είναι και αυτό. Εντάξει, δεν σου μιλάω και για το Γενάρη, ρε φίλε. Εντάξει. Υπάρχουν και άλλοι μήνες. Και Μάιο, ας πούμε, δεν υπάρχει περίπτωση να βγει Μάιο. Ευχαριστώ για το follow, next level dealer. Leveled dealer. Εκεί Σεπτέμβρη, βαριά, Οκτώβρη. Ναι, εκεί, εγώ σου λέω, θα είναι το τρίμηνο αυτό. Αύγουστο, Σεπτέμβρη, Οκτώβρη, το World of Warcraft.
Storytelling-wise, does this game provide?
Yeah, so, well, if you've played an archive mission, you sort of know about what we can do, but in Overwatch 2, our story missions are going to have all sorts of additional storytelling opportunities.
Για την πυροβολήση εκεί πέρα, φέτος καλώς πέθανε.
Feel what they feel about the missions they're going on. We're using different sort of storytelling elements to be able to bring these stories to life, and we really want to tell exciting
Είχαμε release. Βασικά, Αύγουστο... Νομίζω Αύγουστο είχαμε το Cataclysm. Δεν θυμάμαι. Και ήμουν έξω από το πλαίσιο και περιμέναμε. Και πήγα και πήρα το Collector's Edition. Το μετάνιωσα, απλά. Αυτό είναι το τελευταίο μου expansion στο Battle for Azeroth. 14 Αυγούστου. Before September 31, ναι. Cataclysm ήταν το τελευταίο μου expansion και ήταν το... Γιατί πλήρωσα 70 ευρώ. Δεν είχε τίποτα μέσα το Collector's Edition. Είχε ένα βιβλίο που ήταν με το artwork πολύ όμορφο. Είχε ένα CD με μουσική που το άκουσα μια φορά και το πέταξα, το έβαλα στην άκρη. Είχε ένα ωραίο κουτί αυτό. Είχε και ένα OK mousepad. Δηλαδή, mousepad, αλήθεια. Βάλε κάτι άλλο, ρε φίλα. Όποιος το θέλει, παιδιά, το Collector's Edition, το κουτί, 15 ευρουλάκια δικό του. Ναι ρε εσύ, εντάξει, δηλαδή τόσα λεφτά δίνεις, βάλε κάτι, βάλε μια μινιατούρα. Δεν θέλω μεγάλη μινιατούρα όπως βάζουν στο Tomb Raider. Σου είχαν μινιατούρα της μινιατούρα, δεν ήταν καν μινιατούρα αυτό το πράγμα της Λάρα. Ήταν ένα θηρίο τέτοιο. Βάλε κάτι, ένα τέτοιο, ας πούμε, μια μαλακιούλα, κάτι. Ξεφτύλες. Ναι, δεν έχω. Ο Ράγκνος μου τρομερό για τα 15. Ναι, έλαντε. Εντάξει, αν βγάλουνε Lilith, το είδατε, ένα σαν statue που είχαν Lilith. Αν βγάλουνε statue, αγαλματάκι Lilith για collectors Diablo 4, απλά έχει φύγει collectors Diablo 4. Έχω φύγει για collectors Diablo 4 με αυτό το γαλματάκι. Δεν υπάρχει, ήταν τέλειο, ήταν καταπληκτικό.
Every single day.
And every time we add something new, it's like, oh, we got a new piece of the puzzle to work with. But the great thing, as far as being able to tell stories, and the thing that's really exciting, is that we have this characters of themes and of storylines, and we can go in there and we can grab the ones that really resonate with us and the ones that we're really excited about. And again, Overwatch 2, now we can finally tell that story.
Right. It was really cool seeing that trailer and seeing you guys base everything, all that action in Paris.
Yeah.
You know, it was a bit of a tearjerker too. Yeah, I saw you do that.
Diablo 4 φαίνεται γαμάτο, σκοτεινό όπως Diablo 2. Να βλέπεις τον boss και να σου κόβει το αίμα. Εντάξει, δεν είδαμε. Κοίτα, η Lilith ήταν.
One of the interesting things is that we've always cared about in Overwatch. You know, one of our mission statements with Overwatch is we wanted to explore the breadth of the world of Earth. We wanted to show all these diverse locations, all these diverse characters, and so we have we believe as a team that that's an important and fundamental part of Overwatch. And so when we were approaching Overwatch 2, we knew that if you're going to go on this globe-spanning adventure, you were going to have to go to all these different places. But we have an additional awesome kind of tool now, which is that we have a real story that we are trying to follow. And so that actually helps us decide some of the locations. So we're going to get to see some really exciting places that have been sort of touched upon in the story, and we're just excited to finally bring them to life.
Well, after seeing like Blizzard tackle universes, you know, like in Azeroth and universe, you know, you've had fantasy, you have sci-fi, and to be able to see everything here on planet Earth, it's actually really cool. Michael, thanks so much for stopping by and sharing more with us. I'm so glad that you finally get to share more of the Overwatch story with the world. You've worked so hard on it. Thank you from us as well for creating these amazing characters. Anyway,
να σας πω, το Diablo 4 και εμένα μου άφησε πολύ καλή εντύπωση. Λίγο τα γραφικά. Μου φάνηκαν πολύ στυλ Path of Exile, το οποίο δεν είναι απαραίτητα κακό.
Dark and horrible. You know, we are here in the Dark Gallery, so that's very appropriate. What is the Dark Gallery?
So the Dark Gallery, we have brought a piece of sanctuary right here to the Anaheim Convention Center. This is an amazing collection of artifacts made by our team and some help from our friends, and it's really something not to be missed.
I'm so excited to check it out. Things are already catching my eye. It's very difficult not to look back there.
Lilith.
I'm just going to see one thing most important. What would it be?
Oh, it would have to be the Lilith painting by Brahm. It's the largest painting he's ever done. Brahm did the for Diablo 2, and we brought him back for Diablo 4.
Ooh, I can't wait. Thank you, John. I'm going to go check it out right now.
Σαν CD των Cradle of Filth, μάλλον.
John was right. These Brahm paintings are incredible. They just seem to glow, especially the Lilith one. She looks so lifelike and hauntingly beautiful. Here's the thing though, she's here in the flesh. Super starstruck, but let's see if we can grab a word. Lilith, you look gorgeous and terrifying, and I'm super intimidated, but would you strike a pose so we may adore you?
Αυτή.
Oh my gosh. Thank you, your Majesty, Highness, Demon, Evilness. Let's calm down by a quick little photo booth.
Πρέπει να το κάνει τραβέλι.
Looks like I have a friend that I can pose with. Hi! Oh my gosh!
Okay.
Happy BlizzCon! I'm so excited to What was that? The blood of the willing. I'm not actually so willing, so guys, that's gonna be all from me. Back to you.
Μάλιστα. Κουντρούλης. Αυτά είναι.
BlizzCon 2019 is brought to you by T-Mobile. Their newest signal goes
Στρογγυλή κυλίτσα έχει.
5G ready. MSI True Gaming. Intel, the official CPU partner of BlizzCon. The official networking partner of BlizzCon.
Πάντως, πολύ καλύτερα τα γραφικά και το aesthetic όλο από το Diablo το 3, Diablo 4.
And you know what time it is? It's time for another social media update. Let's see what the fans on Twitter are saying about what they're seeing here at BlizzCon 2019. And Rhiannon says, the power of BlizzCon 2019 and social media, 15 years of friendship, first time meeting in real life. Even more excited for BlizzCon after this. That's pretty cool.
That's awesome. That's my favorite part about BlizzCon is being able to meet people that you have never met in real life and like reuniting with friends.
That's actually one of our field producers. You know that, right?
Was that a field producer?
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
Oh my god!
Out there having fun.
We've got Karen at BlizzCon. Cashel says, "Happy BlizzCon, everyone! Today, let's celebrate our awesome community and the company that brought us all together."
I met Karen at BlizzCon like a few years ago. I met her. That's
you know
so
Karen?
Awesome. Yes, I know Karen. That's so awesome. That's so awesome. All right.
Dragon Symmetra. Α, Παναγία μου.
BlizzCon. Come say hi if you see me. I love that Symmetra skin right there. It's one of my favorites right there. I love it.
Μόνο που κάτι έπαθε. Την τζιμπήσανε την Dragon Symmetra.
Overwatch League official account tweeting out what a view. Heart eye emoji.
All the people playing Overwatch 2.
That's super cool.
Lovely. Lawrence is BlizzCon
Ασφέντα.
this year.
Ναι, κανονικά.
Fergus, thank you. You are absolutely correct.
Oh man,
that's true. And if you guys
Του δίνει χαρακτήρα για μένα το δικό, για μένα δικό του. Το WoW και το Overwatch έχουν το καρτουνιστικό, ας πούμε. Ήταν σαν αντιγραφή assets του WoW. Το Diablo 3 είχε έτσι ένα λίγο καρτουνιστικό στυλ. Ήτανε όχι τόσο όσο τα άλλα δύο games, ok. Το Diablo 3, το Diablo 4 μου θυμίζει πιο πολύ το χαρακτήρα του Diablo 2. Το απόκοσμο ήταν πιο το eerie, όχι απόκοσμο, eerie, δηλαδή μπορώ να το πω διαφορετικά. Απόκοσμο θεωρητικά.
Like Diablo 4, we can finally say it out loud. And this is the time to tell you a bit more.
Ο Χατζικώστας, ο φίλος μας.
And what is next in World of Warcraft. So,
ο Ιώνας. Ιών, Χατζικώστας.
The sky shattered and we are left staring across the veil between life and death into a small piece of the Shadowlands. Well, what does that mean for us exactly? So this panel is going to be a little bit different from some of the past expansion What's Next panels. Because this isn't one of those expansions where it's like, okay, we are...
Εν τω μεταξύ είναι Ρουμάνος. Ρουμάνος είναι.
...continent that's part of Azeroth that map makers have mysteriously ignored for the last 10 years. We are going to another plane of existence, effectively. We are going to the realm of death, to the afterlife. And so I need to also lay out some of the ground rules for how this whole place works. So bear with me, and then we'll put it all together at the end. There's a couple things where I'm going to gloss over some details because we have a deep dive panel tomorrow where a few of my colleagues are going to go much more in depth on some of the features and systems. Anyway, let's get going. So, for the lore nerds in the crowd, you may recognize... You may recognize this, the Warcraft cosmology, which lays out the 6 primal forces that define the Warcraft universe. We have light and shadow, order and disorder, and yes, life and death. And so, where and what is the Shadowlands? It's right there. It's been right there in front of us this whole time, just on the edge of reality, separated from us by this veil that has shattered. And that's where we're going. So, to kick things off, let's talk about, some light topics, like what happens to us after we die. In Azeroth or other worlds of Warcraft, anyway. So, when death comes, a soul crosses between life and death. Spirit Healer makes that determination, and a winged bearer comes to bring the soul into the Shadowlands. And souls come before a mysterious entity, an ancient entity, known only as the Arbiter.
Arbiter.
Since time immemorial, has functioned in this capacity. And when that soul comes before her, in a fraction of a second, every one of the contents of that soul is laid bare before her. All the deeds, the misdeeds, the thoughts, the aspirations, the triumphs, and the failures are felt, absorbed, and understood by the Arbiter. And the Arbiter sends that soul off to a destination realm, to one of the infinite realms of the Shadowlands, each one of which is ruled over by a powerful covenant, a ruling force within the Shadowlands. Also, and this will matter more in a second, but each soul brings with it a powerful source of energy known as anima. This is a vital force that is the product of all of that soul's experiences, all that they have done in life. Great souls, whether for good or for evil, have a lot of anima, and ones who've lived smaller, more humble lives have less. But folks like Varian, Garrosh, certainly Arthas, the former Lich King, they had a ton. And anima is the mana. It is ironically, the lifeblood of the Shadowlands. In this land of death, it's the force that makes the trees here grow and rivers flow. It's the source that's drawn upon to conduct the magic of death and much more. And that's going to be essential to understanding this world. So as I mentioned, the Shadowlands has infinite realms, but our journey initially will focus on a few of them. We see Refuge, Ardenweald, Bastion, and Maldraxxus as 4 major realms. Oribos, a city which stands in the center of it all, and this mysterious region known only as the Maw. Let's start talking about them. So first off, Bastion. Now for each of these zones, I'm going to start by showing a piece of our internal concept art that helped define the look and the feel of the zone, and then we'll see how that turned into reality within the game. So this piece, which I'm sure you're all seeing for the very first time ever as an exclusive part of BlizzCon, reflects our artist's early take on the splendor of Bastion. Bastion is ruled over by the Kyrian Covenant. Now, the Kyrian are the forebears of the Valkyr and the Spirit Healers and more. The Kyrian are ordered and purposeful, and the souls that find their way here, that are sent here by the Arbiter, are ones that had some natural calling in life to service in one form or another.
Πίνασα, πάω να φτιάξω ένα τοστάκι και έρχομαι.
Fully ready to assume their ascended role as a Kyrian, souls come with burdens. And a lot of what goes on in Bastion is meditation, reflection, understanding self through combat and other means to shed those burdens and be ready to ascend to an eternity of service in the afterlife as a Valkyr or a Spirit Healer or one of a couple of other paths. An example of a soul that might be familiar to us who ended up in Bastion, Uther, the Lightbringer. And we will be encountering him, among others, in our journey through Bastion. And of course, if you haven't had a chance to check it out yet, Bastion is the zone that's playable here on the show floor today. So here is a look at some of the environments of Bastion, glowing, resplendent, very much distant from the dark and dreary images that might have been conjured up when you first heard the words Shadowlands. Because the land of death is not all darkness. There's a distinction there. Next, a bit of a darker place, the zone of Maldraxxus. So Maldraxxus, as initially defined in this concept, is ruled over by the Necrolord Covenant, and it reflects the heart of the Shadowlands' military might. The souls here defend the Shadowlands from external forces and wage war on the enemies of death. These are the forces that were called upon by the Lich King, by his servants Kel'Thuzad and others, and we've seen a piece of that. Now, while at a glance, okay, undead, rot, decay, this seems like, okay, these are all evil guys. That's not necessarily what Maldraxxus is about. While this power certainly can be used for evil, at its core really is more about just a relentless spirit, unyielding search and pursuit of power, strength inward and outward. And an example of a soul that ended up in Maldraxxus is actually the warlord Draka, Mother of Thrall, who, while certainly not an evil, wicked soul, was one who would never kneel, never bow before another. And she has actually ascended to a position of some prominence within Maldraxxus, as we will discover when we journey there. Let's take a couple of look at how this is coming together. Now, if you think of Legion as the old Burning Crusade look and feel dialed up to 11, Maldraxxus is very much Eastern Plaguelands, the Scourge, and more, taken to the nth degree. This is the source of that power, and much more. Next, Ardenweald. Ardenweald is an enchanted fairy forest, and that was what we were setting out to create, and this concept by our environment team really helped define that look and the general vibe that we were going for. Now, Ardenweald is ruled over by the Night Fae, and we are familiar with the Emerald Dream, those of you who are druids maybe more so than most. And if we think of the Emerald Dream as a reflection of the spring and the summer, part of nature's cycle, Ardenweald reflects autumn and winter,
Nice.
of rest,
yes, of death, but also of preparation for eventual rebirth. Because the journey into the Shadowlands isn't necessarily a one-way journey. And spirits of nature are the ones who are called powerfully to Ardenweald, and most of them come here to rest and to prepare to serve the wilds once more. An example of a powerful, well-known soul who ended up in Ardenweald is actually the demigod Cenarius. When he fell before the axes of Grommash Hellscream and his band of felon-fused orcs, his soul
Αχ, Παναγία μου. Δεν τα χρειάζεσαι, κοπελιά, τα δόντια.
And returned to serve the wilds in a time of need during the events of the Cataclysm. So here's a look at how that general, those concepts have been translated into in-world environments.
Μάλιστα.
If you look up in Ardenweald, you're looking at the underside of canopies of magical ancient trees that almost look like staring up at the night sky. But there are also some parts of Ardenweald that aren't faring quite as well, that also reflect some sorts of powers that we may have seen recently, especially for those of you who are playing Alliance in Battle for Azeroth, because Ardenweald is also deeply connected to the Drust, who come from the land of death. Fourth up, Revendreth. Revendreth is awesome. It's basically just a creepy gothic zone, miasma, souls, villages in their shadow, and terrors and horrors lurking around every corner. Revendreth is ruled over by the Venthyr. This is the fourth major covenant. And Revendreth, unlike the other realms, maybe isn't the place that you would want to go or hope to go as a soul passing into the Shadowlands. The souls that the Arbiter has sent to Revendreth over the years tend to be the ones that have some flaw, whether it's pride or some other problem that's kind of blocking them, that's hindering their ability to serve the Shadowlands in one of the other known paths. And they come to Revendreth to atone, to do penance for their misdeeds, and potentially to be redeemed, and to move on to one of the other realms, or perhaps not. Revendreth is not a particularly fun place to be, but it's an essential part of the engine of death that is the Shadowlands. An example of a soul that came here, and whom we will encounter in our journeys, is none other than Kael'thas Sunstrider.
Μάλιστα. Νομίζω ότι αυτός ο...
Who, after a setback or two, found his way to this dark land. So here we see, just sort of a look at the landscape, the silhouette of the spires that define the environment.
Darkilla.
This is one of my favorite zones.
Πολύ dark. Γύρισε στο DC μου φαίνεται την Blizzard.
There are also parts of Revendreth that is actually broken through the clouds and severed the earth, and some are actually caged up here because exposure to the light does horrible, horrible things to many of the souls of this land. Okay, so I've used the word covenant a whole lot. What is a covenant? So a covenant is the ruling power of the Shadowlands. There are four major ones we're going to be encountering: the Kyrians in Bastion, the Necrolords in Maldraxxus, the Night Fae of Ardenweald, and the Venthyr of Revendreth, as described.
Necrolords
are also really the number one major feature of Shadowlands. I think in Battle for Azeroth, we had a few different smaller features. We had islands, we had the Heart of Azeroth, we had warfronts. Covenants are more like a garrison or an artifact in the sense of being what we call internally a build-around feature. They're integrated into every aspect of the game, and they're an essential part of your journey, your progression, your power, and more. Each of these covenants, as you encounter them in your journeys, will seek your aid, because you are a powerful, mighty hero who comes with some unique abilities, seeing as you actually are tethered to the land of the living, and you are coming alive from Azeroth, which we'll get to in a second. And of course, in exchange for this, each one of them offers access to their power and a variety of rewards. And so each of you will have to make a fateful choice. Which covenant will you join? Let's take a look at what that will mean for you. So a covenant entails multiple things. First off, each covenant has its own large narrative endgame arc. So in Battle for Azeroth, we had the Horde War campaign and the Alliance War campaign. In Shadowlands, we have 4 of those. Each one opens up at max level, depending on your choice, and will lead you through the world in different ways, as you unravel the mysteries of the Shadowlands, but do so in pursuit of your Covenant's goals and working to empower them and thus yourself.
Γαμάτι.
Each Covenant also brings with it 2 active abilities. One of these is class-specific. It's a combat ability that will change your moment-to-moment gameplay. The other is a universal ability that all members of that Covenant will share. And if you check out the demo here today for Bastion, you can see the Kyrian abilities for any given class and mess around with them. Next, Covenants bring with them an endgame progression system. There's a ritual known as soul binding, where as a member of a Covenant, you can bond your soul to a powerful denizen of the Shadowlands, enhancing your abilities, unlocking new ones, and having a ton of customization there. At a glance, I know this sounds like, okay, this is the artifact system, this is the Heart of Azeroth for this expansion. In some ways, it builds upon lessons learned from both of those. First and foremost, there is no artifact power to grind. This is not a...
To push.
Yeah. Because honestly, like, that was an essential starting point for us when designing the system. I think one of the lessons we learned from Legion onwards is there is something great about having endgame goals and customization and things to work towards, and to not just have the things that modify your character come to a screeching halt when you hit max level. The flip side is, despite systems of diminishing returns and the other things we had in place in Legion and BFA, there's no question that there are social pressures. There are things that make it feel bad to play alts, where if you're not doing X amount of things every week, you feel like you're falling behind. You're letting your team down, or you're letting your own characters down. We want to have a world where you can have goals to work towards, customization, differentiation, without the grind. More details on this to come. We're going to be talking more about Covenants in our deep dive panel tomorrow, but that's an essential piece.
Εν μεταξύ το grind είναι για αυτόν τον λόγο που παίζουμε WoW Classic.
And of course, alongside the power, is also a wide array of cosmetic rewards that each Covenant has. Some of the armor sets in the expansion trailer, and there's a whole lot more beyond that. Each Covenant also has a home base, effectively, a sanctum. This is a cross in some ways between the Legion class hull, but also the general feeling that you might have had back in Legion playing through Suramar and restoring Shalaran and building it up from this dingy, dusty, dark hole in the ground into a base with a teleportation network and allies that you'd recruited. And as you work to restore your Covenant's power, you will benefit from that, but you'll also be making choices along the way. Let's take a look at some of these rewards. So, if you join the Kyrian, let's say you're a warrior, this might be the plate set of armor that you can earn, a mount that you can earn, the active ability that all Kyrian warriors will have, Spear of Bastion. If you joined the Venthyr or you joined the Night Fae, you would have a different ability there. And Unburden, a utility movement ability that all members of the Kyrian Covenant will have. With Covenant rewards, we're also looking at exploring some new cosmetic options. Now, recently we've seen a couple of fun cloak replacements in the form of a backpack or totems on the Tauren Heritage armor. We want to do more with that, to really change your silhouette. So, different Covenants... So yeah, each Covenant will offer a set of cloak replacements or back attachments. So whether you want, a halo or a pair of wings, or depending on the different Covenants that you're joining, a different aesthetic entirely, you can pick the one that best suits you. Okay, so Covenants. Taking a step back, let's get back to the world for a moment. So I mentioned the 4 zones, each of which has a Covenant, and at the center of it all rests Oribos. Oribos is a city that, again, predates memory. It is of an unknown construction, and it is the home of the Arbiter, this powerful, mysterious being that really fuels the machine that is the Shadowlands. And that has drawn to it, over the millennia, all manner of beings across the Shadowlands, and even some from other dimensions. Brokers and soul traders come here to wheel and deal. The politics of this entire dimension center on this bustling city at the heart of the Shadowlands. And this will also serve as our sanctuary city, our main player hub in our adventures through the Shadowlands. Catgar wanted to bring Dalaran through, but we figured there was already a city there, not needed. Last zone, this mysterious place known as the Maw. So, to our knowledge anyway, there is no covenant. But our knowledge is very, very limited about this place. You see, the Maw is a swirling vortex of darkness. And precious few souls over the eons, the Arbiter would send directly into the Maw. Those were seen as the most tainted, the most irredeemable, the darkest, most dangerous souls that were consigned to the Maw, as much for their own potential punishment as to protect the Shadowlands from what they could otherwise bring with them. Thus, the Maw is a mystery to even the Shadowlands, even the ancient ones.
Okay.
It's known to have, through whispers, a ruler known only as the Jailer. But the Jailer is almost like the boogeyman of the Shadowlands, right? It's the whispered figure of children's tales that, oh, you know, the big bad Jailer is going to get you locked away in the Maw. But basically, nothing is known because nothing has ever escaped the Maw. Journeying into the Maw is one way. Of course, we're going to have to go there. Otherwise, I wouldn't be telling you this. That's how it's going to work. Okay, so what I just described is how the machinery of death has functioned throughout World of Warcraft's history, throughout the universe's history.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not how it's working right now. Death itself is broken. Instead of coming before the Arbiter and filtering out all the realms of the Shadowlands, all souls that have shuffled off this mortal coil in recent years have been pulled inexorably directly into the Maw, strengthening it, causing it to grow, to swell like a tremendous maelstrom. It also means that the other realms of the Shadowlands are starved of this essential force, anima, that souls bring with them. There's a drought afflicting the entire Shadowlands. The Shadowlands are withering as the Maw grows. Now, what is Sylvanas' role in all of this, you may wonder? Because she, after all, is the one who set these events in motion. And I know Sylvanas has been an enigma to many for a long time. She, at times, can be an inspiring figure, but then at other times, especially recently, it has seemed like her actions were calculated to cause the maximum... So yeah, contentious issues here. At times recently, it seemed like her actions were calculated to cause the maximum amount of death possible. What if they were? And who is this mysterious figure that we saw briefly a glimpse of in the expansion trailer earlier today? It's not Arthas. Arthas is dead. I'm sorry. But this is the mysterious Jailer inside the Maw. And this is not Sylvanas' master. She doesn't have a master. She is above that. She is beyond that. But this is a power with whom she is in league. They are partners with a common end that we will discover in time. And many have wondered, how has Sylvanas grown so powerful in recent years? How did she go from a mighty Dark Ranger, but one who had to flee the Lich King back in Wrath of the Lich King when you confronted them in the dungeon, to one who could stand up, smite Saurfang, and face off against Bolvar? It's because through her allegiance to one of these Lords of Death, as the power of death has been growing, as the power of the Maw and the Jailer have been growing, so too have her own powers. That is a taste of the power that she's drawn upon, and that's part of what awaits us. Okay, now putting this all together. So, expansion launches. Just before the expansion launches, we have, pre-patch events as we enjoy having to get people up to speed, get you caught up, maybe help leveling some alts here and there. This time around, as we've said, and as we've been told by Tyrannus, the Helm of Domination worn by the Lich King was essential to keep the undead of Azeroth in check, to keep them under control. Well, without it, what are they doing? They're rampaging across the world. And so there's sort of a Scourge Invasion 2.0 that we're cooking up that will set the stage for the journey that awaits us. So in the weeks leading up to Shadowlands, as the heroes of Azeroth fight to defend their homes and families and friends from the rampaging undead, they will
Ναι.
also muster their forces to make for Icecrown and try to
Συγγνώμη,
attack the
ο
source
Μπόλβαρ δεν έγινε
where it
Lich King.
A key leader in this is actually going to be Bolvar himself. He did not die. He was defeated. But he actually offers us some unique insight into this situation. Because he actually, more than any other being, has one foot in each realm and understands them both. When he was seared by the dragon fire of Alexstrasza, he was infused with the power and the energy of life. That's what was able to allow him to keep the powers of the undead at bay as he wore this helm. But having worn the helm, he has seen into the other world and understands what awaits us. And he and his Death Knights can also help us cross over into that world to understand what's going on there and to have a chance at saving our own. And so we will make for Icecrown, we will cross over, and we will end up in the Maw, because that's where everything that goes into the Shadowlands is going.
Ναι.
And our journey ends there. It's a really short expansion. Now, that obviously not. So we, heroes of Azeroth, with a unique bond to the world soul of Azeroth herself, find ourselves uniquely able to escape the Maw. Not all who come with us will be able to escape. Some of our friends and great champions of Azeroth will be trapped behind. But we escape, and we move on to Oribos, where we begin to learn about the nature of this new world and set out to level up through 4 zones, in order: Bastion, Maldraxxus, Ardenweald, and Revendreth.
Okay.
So unlike the last couple of expansions, we want to get back to having a strong narrative arc that can span multiple zones. And so all people entering the Shadowlands will go on this journey. As you do this, you're going to work with each zone's powers, with each zone's covenant. As you end your journey, they'll let you borrow their powers, so you can actually play with the active abilities that you'll have down the line. You get a sense of what your covenant's ethos is, their aesthetic.
Okay.
And all of this is, as you're learning about the world, as you are trying to understand the foes that face you and defeat them, you're also getting prepared for a fateful choice. Which covenant do you want to join? Because that's the big choice that awaits you at max level.
Ωραίο αυτό.
Exactly. You will choose one of them. And after joining that covenant, you have its powers permanently, your covenant campaign begins, and you move into the endgame. Now, that's how it's going to go your first time through. But what about alts, you may ask? So one of the big things that we got out of non-linear leveling in Legion and BFA was flexibility when you're leveling your alts. You can have a different journey on one character versus another. But what we lost was the ability to tell a single, strong narrative story. We want to get the best of both worlds this time around. And so, on your alts, once you have one character that's made it through this journey a single time, we want to say, well, we know, breaking the fourth wall for a second, that you as a player, you understand how the world works. We don't need to teach you how covenants work. We don't need to teach you about the Shadowlands. So let's just let you pick a covenant right away, if that's what you want to do. And so you'll have access to their powers permanently. And on an alt, you can level up through any of the zones in any order that you want. You can do the narrative campaign, if that's what you want to do, or you could go to Revendreth first. Or you could spam dungeons, or battlegrounds, or whatever. Endgame systems like world quests will also be available.
Πω αυτά τα casual, μαλάκα, δεν μπορώ.
And finally, you're welcome.
Είπε. Θέλω να δω το New Game Plus που θα το θέσουν σε εφαρμογή. Έλατε.
Obviously, one of the things we see with people playing alts is there's a sense of wanting to rush through to get to the end game as quickly as possible.
Το New Game Plus δεν είναι το... δεν το εννοούσα το στυλ του... του Bloodborne και του Dark Souls. Ξέχνα το... Είναι δηλαδή καθαρά για τον καινούριο χαρακτήρα που θα ανεβάσει, ξέρω εγώ.
What if you could begin progressing on your various endgame systems, unlocking powers with your soulbinds and more as you're leveling up? So of course you're still, getting your levels, progressing through that story, getting your character stronger, but the progression that you earn will matter at endgame, and you'll be meaningfully ahead of where you were when you first hit max level on your first character. Okay, so back to our max level experience. So we've seen a glimpse of the mall when we first arrived in the Shadowlands, and then we're going to have to, we'll probably visit it a couple more times over the course of level up, learning a little bit more about it since we have this unique power to go in and out. But at max level, what is the maw? So the maw is terrible. It's a fearsome, terrifying place. But we've been to those before. We go to those all the time, right? Like we literally, not too long ago, we were fighting on the homeworld of the Burning Legion in the shadow of their great fortress. And coincidentally, we always manage to find a friendly innkeeper who will sell us water and let us bind our hearthstones. Doesn't matter how evil the place is, there's always that guy with the hearthstone. Not here. We've been set out in the maw, in the outdoor space, to build an environment that matches the fantasy of the space. Where when you go in here, you'll have to have your wits about you. Because it's a place that wants to kill you at every corner. There are definitely some lessons drawn from revisiting classic spawning and things along those lines. And it's a chance for us to explore some new types of outdoor world gameplay. We're going to have a lot more to say about this at our deep dive panel tomorrow, but I just wanted to tee it up. This is a place that you'll be going to only at max level, and you'll be delving in here to uncover the mysteries of Sylvanas, the Jailer, and much more. At the center of the maw is this mysterious place called Torghast, Tower of the Damned. Yes, this is the tower that you saw sticking out of the sky above Ice Crown Citadel. What does that mean in gameplay terms? I would call this our second major feature after Covenants. Because Torghast is a bit different from anything we've seen before. What Torghast is effectively an endless dungeon. It's ever-changing and defies the laws of reality in a lot of ways. Crafting Torghast, we looked for inspiration to a lot of our favorite roguelike games. And what does that mean? It means an environment that changes each time you come there. When we create this experience, we want it to be one that you can enter solo or with friends.
Diablo, δηλαδή.
If you want a sense of endgame progression that is meaningful and challenging, that doesn't require bringing a group with you, Torghast is there for you. Of course, if you want to bring your friends with you, don't say no, you can do that too. As you ascend the tower, on visits that will change from run to run, from visit to visit, you can earn permanent upgrades that you can take out with you, but also, on the course of your visit, you'll be able to absorb powerful concentrations of anima that massively change and enhance your powers. This is one of the other really fun parts of roguelike gameplay. It allows us to offer huge upgrades, transformative things that make each visit different from the next. You can play to your strength, shore up your weaknesses, and much more. This is the thing we're going to talk a lot more about tomorrow, just teeing it up here. But just a random example of a choice that you may be faced with early on in your journey into Torghast. Let's say you're playing a shaman. You get a source of upgrades. You want some, passive damage and healing. Or a permanent transformative upgrade to one of your abilities that will last throughout the rest of your journey. A different journey might offer different options and different upgrades. None is going to be quite like the others. The interior of Torghast definitely calls upon the architecture that we saw in Ice Crown Citadel and elsewhere, though as you ascend to the higher reaches of the tower, who knows what you're going to find. In addition to Torghast, we have 8 dungeons on offer, 4 for level up, 1 in each zone. Each of these dungeons, of course, comes with loads, heroic, mythic, mythic plus, with all new affixes coming each season in Shadowlands. And 4 max dungeons. One of my favorites I want to call out here is this dungeon called The Other Side, or The Other Side in Ardenweald.
Όλα καλά, φίλε μου, εσύ.
Is a pocket dimension, home to none other than everyone's favorite Loa, Wansambi. So he's been quite the trickster, and we've never really known exactly whose side he's on, or what he's up to, who he serves. And this is going to give us a chance to explore that. It's a great opportunity to revisit one of our favorite
Για το World of Warcraft τώρα λέει. Είχε στην αρχή του stream για το Diablo 4, δηλαδή με αυτό ξεκίνησε.
At launch, called Castle Nathria. This was a super fun project for our dungeon team and our encounter designers. Like,
Άστελνα άθλια ten boss.
literally just build Dracula's castle, make it a ring. It's kind of
Ενδιαφέρον, πολύ ενδιαφέρον, φίλε μου, το Diablo 4. Το μόνο που δεν είναι ενδιαφέρον είναι ότι το release date είναι άγνωστο πρώτον και είπαν ότι θα αργήσει πάρα πολύ. Πάρα πολύ. Ελπίζω να μην αργήσει. Καλά, ας ελπίσουμε να μην αργήσει όπως το Diablo το 3 σε σχέση με το Diablo 2. Αλλά εντάξει. Έχουμε μάθει να περιμένουμε, μωρέ, τώρα. 33 χρονών φτάσαμε. Τα χρόνια του Χριστού.
Our core philosophy, a central pillar, has been we want to increase player agency. We want to give all of you a feeling of more control over your destiny, whether that's in how you play your class, whether that's in how you chase the rewards that you want. We've heard a lot of your feedback. We've been hearing
αλλά αν κάτι μας έμαθε η Blizzard είναι ότι μας έχει πάντα στο περίμενο. Εντάξει. Ναι. Αυτό είναι αλήθεια.
Big expansion systems and the nuances of how loot works, these are things we're going to keep iterating on over the course of development. So I don't have a fully fleshed out answer to provide right now, but I want to give you a direction of how we're thinking. One simple example first. Professions.
Εντάξει, δεν το περίμενε, αλλά ήταν τίμιο περίμενε. Το Diablo, η αναμονή Diablo 2, Diablo 3 δεν ήταν τίμια. Ήτανε αντεγάμισου.
You probably have a couple of stats in mind. Let's say you want crit haste pants. And so you're crafting, and whoops, you got mastery versatility pants. And you craft and salvage and craft until you get the ones you want. Why does it have to be that way? What if you could take a crit gem and a haste gem and add them as optional materials to your craft and be guaranteed to get a crafted item with the secondary stats you want? It's a small example. I realize that's not, fixing professions, but we also do very much want to make the armor crafting professions relevant in a deeper way at endgame. The weekly loot chest. Okay.
Είναι relevant.
A good example of RNG in World of Warcraft today. Right? You've done your mythic keystone, you filled your conquest bar, you go to open this chest, and you're pulling from a loot table that has like 100 plus items and hoping that you get the item that you want in the slot that you want with the stats that you want, and hopefully it's sockets and war forges or even titan forges, and then maybe you can wear it. And most of the time, after the first few weeks of a season, you're probably walking away disappointed. And that sucks. Because the point of that is to be a major reward moment. It's a payoff for something that you did in the past week. And because of randomness, that's falling short. And it's an example of randomness gone too far. Randomness can be healthy, but there are places where it really is excessive. We're looking at pulling that back where possible. So what if instead of the loot chest, there was some other device, some contraption that measured the things that you'd done, that had some sense of how many dungeons you'd done, of what difficulty or what your PvP rating was, or what bosses you'd bonus rolled, and it could instead materialize or create one of a list of items. And instead of clicking the chest and it spitting out a random item, you saw 5 or 6 options to choose among. And you could pick the one that you wanted most.
Ωραίο αυτό. Μπλάχαση έπαιζες Warcraft. Wow.
With also some universally relevant fallback option if you don't like any of those items, so that you always at least feel like you made some progress
World of Warcraft.
instead of walking away disappointed. Legendaries.
Καλά έκανε.
So, okay, here's the Legion Legendaries were super fun. They were exciting items that transformed your gameplay. 99% of the complaints that we heard about Legion Legendaries were in how they were obtained. Having the Power Blast bracers was awesome. It made you play differently as a fire mage, and it was strong. Having Pridas...
Βασικά πολύ αρχαία ήταν είχε βγει, αλλά για πολύ λίγο. Ναι.
And having nothing you could do to change that did not feel awesome. So, we want to bring Legendaries back in Shadowlands, but rather than have them be randomly obtained, we want them to be something that you
ήταν και πολύ δύσκολο το Vanilla τότε. Εγώ δεν έπαιξα καθόλου βανίλα όταν είχε πρωτοβγεί. Είχα παίξει μετά στο πρώτο expansion ξεκίνησα. Και τώρα που κάθομαι και παίζω, είναι πολύ κάψιμο, πραγματικά. Το class identity.
This is a little bit different from, agency in other ways, but we've moved in the last few years pretty heavily away from broad class identity to a point where an arcane mage and a fire mage may have more that sets them apart than they have in common. And when you all picked the character you wanted to make, whether it was
Και λεφτά ρε φίλε, κάθε μήνα δεν πεις κάθε δεν παίρνεις. Έλαντε, γάμισέ τα. Νομίζω ότι δεν έχω φάει για να πάρω κάρτα στο WoW.
So we're going to talk about this a lot tomorrow at our deep dive panel, and this means in some cases taking abilities that have become spec specific and bringing them back to being class wide. In other cases it means returning abilities that were taken away altogether. And so talking about this, so sharing this at length tomorrow at our deep dive panel will be my colleague Brian Holinka.
Εντάξει μωρέ, και τώρα που έχουμε λεφτά δεν έχουμε το χρόνο. Καλό ότι τα λεφτά έχουμε τώρα, μην τον κορυδεύουμε.
Okay. Going to go kind of quickly since you don't have too much time left, but leveling. So you may notice that I've said max level a whole bunch of times in this presentation. I haven't said a number. And some of you who've made it to our demo may have noticed, what the heck, I'm level 50. You're level 50. So...
50 to 60 in the Shadowlands.
So, existing 120 characters are 50, everything's scaled smoothly in between, and you will level from 50 to 60 in the Shadowlands. Why are we doing this? Why these numbers? Ultimately, it's about making the experience better paced. We have hundreds of hours of content that we've built in the game over the last 15 years. We don't want it to take hundreds of hours to get to max level. We want to speed up the rate at which you level to get into endgame and give you more freedom and options in how you do that. But if you're getting a level literally every 10 minutes along the way, that starts to feel a bit silly. So this number allows us to better match the content that we have that should be experienced on the way to max level, and also get back to a place where every level, every time you fill that bar, gives you something, because this is an RPG, and that's what levels should do.
Ναι ρε φίλε.
So we also have a brand new player zone to show off some of the best of modern World of Warcraft to new players. On your alts, we want to give you the option to play through the storyline of any single expansion in its entirety to get you from 1 to 50. If you want to play through Pandaria, play through the whole thing, and then go to Shadowlands.
Okay.
Okay. And a different type of agency.
Από 1 ως 50 μπορείς να παίξεις Πανδάρια.
Want to talk a little bit about visual character customization, character appearances, right? Like everyone here, you have this powerful connection to your WoW character. I've seen people spend way too long messing with hairstyles, picking the exact look, the exact facial expression, because that's your avatar in the game.
Oh.
We always want to do better there. We always want to increase the fidelity.
Ευχαριστώ για το host, ρε μπλιάχ.
And so, in recent expansions, we've done things like add allied races or improve the combat.
Έγινε ρε αγόρι, άντε, καλή ξεκούραση.
On improving the customization that's available to the original World of Warcraft races.
Να είσαι καλά κι εγώ ρε φίλε. Χάρηκα που σε είδα στο stream. Επίσης, άντε, καλή ξεκούραση. Έλεγε.
So that you can actually look and feel like you want to feel, and different from the others around you who play the exact same race. So let's take a look.
Πολλές υποσχέσεις προσωπικά για τις blizzcon που είδα από την ανακοίνωση του Cataclysm. Είναι το ενηγματικό.
So for trolls, we want to give you options for different skin colors, hairstyles, tusk shapes, piercings, body paint, tattoos, and also amazing things like the ability to set your eye color different from the look of your face. Because, I don't know, it's 2020, the technology is finally there. What can I say?
Για το Warcraft. Ενηγματικό. Μου φαίνεται τόσο ενηγματικό, δεν ξέρω.
wild hammer look, go for it. Different skin colors, hair colors, and more. Maybe you play an undead, a forsaken.
Πώς θα έχουν κάνει undead?
And you don't want all of your bony parts sticking out of your flesh. Or maybe you do. Up to you. And last but certainly not least in my examples,
Πώς θα έχουν κάνει undead?
Perhaps you play a human in World of Warcraft and wish that you could play a character that looks and feels a little bit more like you. We agree.
Τι είναι αυτό? Τι έχουνε κάνει, μαλάκα? Έχεις παρουσιάσει όλο το expansion από το κατακλείσμα. Αυτό το expansion είναι λίγο ενηγματικό. Έχει πράγματα που όντως σου αφήνουν ερωτήσεις. Σου δείχνει όντως πράγματα.
And his Death Knights are very important to this battle that awaits us. And so what better time to bolster the ranks of Death Knights than now? So in Shadowlands, everyone can be a Death Knight. Pandaren, Kultiran, Zandalari, Mechanome, Volpera, go nuts.
Nice.
Alright, that's all I got for now.
Μα έτσι κι αλλιώς όλοι μπορούσαν να γίνουν Death Knight. Κατάλαβα.
Lots more information tomorrow.
Μάλιστα. Δεν ξέρω. Λογικά στο deep dive.
Enjoy BlizzCon. Have a wonderful weekend. I love you all.
Να πω.
All right, my friends. Now we're going to head over.
Λοιπόν... Παντάρι και τα νέα light. Δεν το ήξερα. Εγώ σου λέω κατακλείσμου, σταμάτησα να παίζω. Είναι αυτό. Το expansion δηλαδή που το πήρα, το έλεγα και πριν, το expansion που το πήρα και collectors, το παράτησα.
Please do that because it's going to be ending here in just a couple weeks. So clearly we love bringing new content to the game each season, and this is something you can expect from us moving forward. You know, every spring, summer, fall, winter, we want to bring new events, and as you've seen with our event quest line, we're going to continue to level those up. We want them to be something that's repeatable across the entire event. So across multiple months, we want you to have quests that, again, every time you come in, you can complete a quest, get really cool rewards, and just enjoy it. So we'll keep doing that. Hope you guys have fun with us. Of course, our seasonal events are not the only thing that we have going on in the game. Really, it's just the icing on the cake that we're making. You know, over the past year, we've also embarked on our most aggressive set of balance changes and hero reworks that we've ever done in the game. So in all, we released 9 balance patches, and we significantly reworked.
Παιδες μου, δεν ξέρω αν θέλετε να δείτε Heroes of the Storm. Εγώ δεν με ενδιαφέρει και πάρα πολύ, να σου πω την αλήθεια.
She's good. She turned out good. I like it. Good job, Brad. So. But as much as we like to shake up the meta and bring back our older heroes into the fray,
Το Legion ήταν ωραίο.
bring a new hero into the
Δεν
game.
ξέρω.
So this past year we brought Orphea, Imperium.
Είχαν τους σπασμένοι, δεν ήταν σπασμένοι οι Demon Hunter, εσύ, το Legion.
And then Kira as well. All right. So, you know, the team loves the challenge of bringing a new hero into the game, and this is something that really is at the core of what we do, and we have a lot of stuff going on. But as we planned for the BlizzCon hero for this year, there was really only one hero that all of you have been asking for years. And then when we sat down with the team and we really took a vote on, like, what do you guys want to work on? What are we excited about? There was really only one that we wanted to work on next. So we were so excited to bring Deathwing to the Nexus. He is finally here. And again, this hero is such a long time coming, and he's literally the biggest thing that's ever come into the Nexus.
Να σου πω κάτι, εμένα μου αρέσει πάρα πολύ τώρα που παίζω Classic. Το μόνο που μου λείπει, πραγματικά το μόνο που μου λείπει από τα τελευταία, δεν είναι το τελευταίο, ούτε καν, από το Wrath που έπαιζα, κύκλος είναι και γυρίζει Death Knight, το λέει. Εντάξει, ναι, έχεις δίκιο. Εμένα το Wrath of the Lich King ήταν το αγαπημένο μου expansion, ήταν εκεί πέρα που τα είχα δώσει όλα. Έπαιζα αρένες, καθόμασταν, κάναμε κάθε εβδομάδα clear
Humanoid, dragon, both. If you played our game, you know there's a lot of bipeds running around, a lot of humanoids. And then a couple years ago, we brought Alex Straza to BlizzCon. And we,
τι είναι αυτή ρε μαλάκα.
it's in that both.
Αυτό είναι το developer team του Heroes of the Storm.
So making Deathwing a dragon just makes sense.
Δυστυχώς ξεκίνησα τον Αύγουστο πριν ξεκινήσει το κάτι. Δεν πρόλαβα στην ώρα. Σιγά, όλοι πιτσιρικάδες είμαστε. Τι μου λες τώρα.
And also we got awesome artists like Alex Horley and Laurel Austin who use very bold shape language. We use all these bits of inspiration to create a concept. Now our buddy Luke Mancini did this concept for us, which honestly it's a great start. We use this to make a 3D block out. And this is what that looks like. Its purpose is to make sure that the shapes are roughed in enough so that our team can start animating it and playing with it in game. At this stage, textures are flat and work in progress. Geometry and animations are also temp and work in progress. This stage
Λοιπόν, μάλλον εδώ πέρα θα σας αποχαιρετήσω, παιδες. Δεν ξέρω, δεν με έχουν κάνει αίσθηση το Heroes of the Storm από το παιχνίδι της Blizzard. Και εγώ θα καληνυχτήσω. Εγώ έχω να κοιμηθώ απλά γιατί ξυπνάω 6:30. Αύριο δεν ξυπνάω ευτυχώς. Αλλά ξύπνησα 7 η ώρα το πρωί. Οπότε, μάλλον θα πάμε για Νάνι. Λοιπόν, ήταν ωραίο. Εντάξει, ήταν δυνατό το blizzcon. Είχε ωραίες ανακοινώσεις. Εντάξει, Diablo 4 αγάπη, πραγματικά. Δεν νομίζω ότι θα μας απογοητεύσει όπως το Diablo 3. Που δεν μας απογοητεύσει το Diablo 3, έτσι. Εμένα μια χαρά μου άρεσε. Αρκετούς βέβαια κολλημένους με Diablo 2, και εγώ ήμουν κολλημένος με Diablo 2. Τους στεναχώρησε, δηλαδή δεν άρεσε τόσο το Diablo 3. Εμένα μου άρεσε, μπορώ να πω. Και ήμουν και hardcore στο Diablo 2, έτσι. Παίζα μόνο hardcore. 98 level Necromancer Rip με Enigma Dagger. Για να μου πούνε χρόνια πολλά. Άστα να πάνε. Με 56 τότε, παρακαλώ. 56 κάπα που συγχρόνιζε στα 41. Και όποτε σε πέρανε τηλέφωνο, έπεφτε η γραμμή. Άντε, γεια. Αυτός είχαμε το map hack και μας πετούσε. Όχι. Κοίτα, να σου πω κάτι, έτσι όπως το είδα. Έχει αυτό το στυλ του Path of Exile, το οποίο είναι όντως πιο σκοτεινό. Είναι σίγουρα πιο σκοτεινό από Diablo 3, αλλά το σκοτάδι του Diablo 1 και Diablo 2 δεν το φτάνει. Θα μου πεις, βοηθούσαν τα γραφικά που ήταν χάλια στο Diablo 1 και λίγο επίσης χάλια να πούμε και στο Diablo 2. Οπότε, ναι, Diablo 4 ήταν μου φάνηκε πάρα πολύ ωραίο. Με το 3 ναι, σίγουρα, δεν το συζητάω, μέρα με τη νύχτα. Την κυριολεξία όμως, τη μέρα με τη νύχτα. Diablo 3 με Diablo 4. Diablo 1 και Diablo 2 εννοείται. Εδώ είναι. Diablo 2. Diablo 1 δεν με ενθουσιάσει, να σου πω την αλήθεια. Ήταν πολύ... εντάξει, κατέβαινες για πάντα, οκ. Αλλά Diablo 2 ήταν αγάπη, πραγματικά, και το Εγώ είχα ξεκινήσει το Diablo το 2 λίγο πριν βγει το expansion, το Lord of Destruction. Παιχνιδάρα. Τι παιχνιδάρα. Μάλιστα θυμάμαι είχαμε κλέψει CD keys από ένα B&B, το B&B της Καλυθέας. Είχαμε ο καθένας από 2-3 account. Άντε, γεια. Ήταν ωραίες εποχές. Diablo είναι... Εγώ το Diablo 1 το έπαιζα στο PlayStation, φίλε. Δεν το είχα παίξει PC. Έπαιζα PlayStation, δεν είχα PC. Όχι, είχα, αλλά δεν έπαιζε Diablo, δεν έπαιζε παιχνίδια βασικά. Όχι, είχα έναν 581, όχι ναι, είχα ένα 586. Θυμάμαι. Με Windows 95. Τέλος πάντων. Το Diablo 1 το παίζαμε με τον καθηγητή μου στη σχολή. Αυτά είναι. Diablo 1. Άρε Πάκο. Είχαμε γράψει σχετικό review στο PC Master. PC Master. Μου θύμισες. Τι εποχή ήταν αυτή, ρε φίλε. Είχα το PC Master. Πήγαινα για χέσιμο και είχα το PC Master, ρε φίλε. Και το Games Magazine. Games Magazine. Πήγαινα και τα αγόραζα, ρε φίλε. Πήγαινα χέσιμο. Πώς είμαστε τώρα με τα κινητά. Τότε ήμουνα με το PC Master και με το Games Magazine. Και καθόμουν και διάβαζα τα άρθρα για τα παιχνίδια και ήταν σαν να παίζω τα παιχνίδια, ρε φίλε. Ήταν τόσο ωραίο. Τόσο ωραίο feeling. Λοιπόν, ένα διαφορετικό stream για σήμερα. Ήρθε στο τέλος του βέβαια. Θα τα πούμε τώρα τη Δευτέρα. Θα συζητήσουμε λίγο και για τις υπόλοιπες μέρες του blizzcon. Θα παίξουμε κανένα παιχνιδάκι. Λοιπόν, άντε. Καληνύχτα. Ευχαριστώ για την παρέα. Και θα τα πούμε τώρα ξανά Δευτέρα. Πολλά φιλιά.